And we're at Kid Brewer Stadium, Appalachian State, and the Dukes of James Madison. First conference game for JMU as they head to the Rock, a place that they have had quite a history in their time at the FCS level. But now, for the first time in Sun Belt play, Appalachian State and James Madison meet here in conference action. Alongside Avery Hall, I am David Jackson. And Avery, like we mentioned, two teams, a lot of similarities, but you look at the history between the two and it gets you excited for a matchup like this.
Lots of history, lots of similarities, and when you talk about similarities, you have to start with the championships, but you also have to start with the way these teams play football. JMU's won 70 football games and lost 11 over the last 6 years. Appalachian State 57-11 since 2014 in the Sun Belt Conference. You know, both of these teams want to run the football, and they do it pretty well. Both of these defenses want to stop the run, and they're very aggressive, and they do it well. But then you also have two seasoned quarterbacks that are ready to pull the trigger for each team.
You see Sean Clark, the head coach of App State, his third full season, and he talked a little bit about the Hail Mary heard around the world last week. You heard a lot about Big Ben and how it was practiced and how it ran just like they do it in practice. He also said if they did it 100 times, they may not ever get it to convert again. That is the benefit of having it all work out. Right place, right time, right combination, and certainly that kept Appalachian State in the center of the college football universe once again. These JMU Dukes coming off an off week. Kirk Cignetti saying that gave his team a chance to heal some wounds, but ultimately when you're playing as well as the Dukes were, 2-0 and putting up some of the stingiest defensive numbers you've ever seen, you kind of want to keep playing, don't you?
You want to keep playing, and think about it. You're played at home. Both of those games, you played well offensively, you played well defensively. Now you go on the road to a hostile environment, but you go on the road with a stingy defense, only giving up 165 yards per game and only 12 rushing. So he likes his chances, but this will be a test for James Madison.
So the Dukes of JMU will receive the opening kickoff. We see back deep to return Solomon Van Horst. He is back on the active squad after missing last week. Q Reed also back to return for the Dukes, who have played in this venue before, a couple playoff tilts the last few times James Madison's come to the Rock. Of course, one of the most anticipated games on either side's home schedule was played against each other. We'll touch on some of that history as we go on. App State kicks it off, and we'll see a touchback, and James Madison come out for 1st and 10 from their own 25. You look back to their week 2 battle against Norfolk State, and Avery, we talk about stingy numbers. 9 yards rushing allowed. JMU did anything they wanted to against Norfolk State in a 63-7 win.
12 possessions, I guess 6 or 7 touchdowns, no 3 and outs, didn't turn the football over. They were very efficient, very effective on offense.
Todd Centeio, the man that leads the troops for these Dukes of JMU, the 6-foot graduate student. Colorado State is where he was at a year ago. 6th-year player, just like Chase Bryce on the other side. Some veteran QBs, not necessarily overly veteran with their teams. Centeio, in just his 3rd game starting for the Dukes, he's got a pass complete out to the far sideline. Zach Horton is the tight end to take that for 12 yards and a JMU first down. The Dukes will use the tight ends. Drew Painter is the other tight end in a 2 tight end setup, but 2 tights gives you a lot of options offensively.
Gives you a lot of options, and also it pulls those safeties, middle linebackers closer to the line so you can throw out on the perimeter and make sure your guy out athletes the opposing defensive.
Latrell Palmer on the carry. Nice cutback across the 45-yard line, and that's about a 9-yard pickup for Palmer. As JMU goes with 2 quick strikes. You see Trey Cobb back in the field there for App State. He's back in that will linebacker spot. Tyler Bird on that last tackle for the Mountaineers. 2nd down and 1. JMU inching toward midfield. Opening possession here at Kid Brewer Stadium on an overcast day. Temperatures in the mid-60s. Front came through middle of the week, and summer turned to fall very quickly here in the mountains of North Carolina. Centeio on the keep. He's got the first down and then some around the corner into App State territory. Ball popped loose late, but that's Todd Centeio on the keeper for the first down. He had 117 yards rushing against Middle Tennessee. Avery Hall, he is the first FBS quarterback since Lamar Jackson to rush for 100 yards and also throw for 6 touchdown passes in the same game.
As you saw on that replay, he just did a good job really pre-snap reading that the free safety was on the extra strong safety was on the half. dash to the boundary side. So they attacked the weak side. He knew he wouldn't have safety support. Good decision, a pre-snap decision by Centeio.
Chris Thornton, talented receiver, to the bottom of your screen. They go tight end again. That's Pater for the near first down catch. Another 9-yard pickup. So JMU not fazed by what Appalachian State has sent out defensively thus far. Tyler Bird in on the stop for the Mountaineers. Drew Pater's 4th catch on the year for JMU.
Mike Shanahan's the offensive coordinator, and he's doing a good job of just really being diverse with the way he's attacking this Appalachian defense. He goes to the perimeter first play. He hits the middle of the field. He goes to the boundary the next play. Just doing a great job of trying to see how he can attack this defense.
His 7th year with Curt Cignetti, so there's some continuity from head coach to coordinator as well. As we see Latrell Palmer on the carry, Jordan Earl the stop up front for App State. So 3rd down now coming up for the Dukes. James Madison 2nd in the Sun Belt, about 56% on 3rd down. App State, one of the worst 3rd down defenses in the country. More on that later. We have a flag fly in on this 3rd and short. Looks like movement up front will send the Duke backwards.
James Madison tried to go up tempo on that last play, and I think they got it a little too fancy for the offensive lineman, because one of those offensive linemen jumped, got a little too eager. So again, those are going to be the type bonehead plays that will be the difference in the ball game when you have two similar teams, penalties and turnovers. 3rd
down and 3 becomes 3rd down and 8. App State allowed 3 conversions of 3rd and 8 or more last week. 9 total on the season through 3 games. 3rd and 8 for the Dukes on their opening drive. That's Painter, the tight end, in motion, high side of your screen. Centeio with plenty of time. Got a man open downfield. He's going to take it off and run. Has the opportunity for the 1st down. Gets stopped short, right near the line to gain. Give credit to Kashawn Brown coming out of the anchor linebacker spot.
Great tackle by Kashawn Brown. If you look at the replay, again, you know, Centeio did a good job on the front. He saw that Appalachian State was in man-to-man coverage. They did shift it to, you know, zone and then shift it back to man-to-man. So he knew he had room to run. If you take here, nobody's open, so he just takes it. He knows the defensive backs are facing the receivers, are taking care of the receivers, so he runs the football.
4th down try for JMU. They're 2 of 4 on 4th down offensively here in this young season. Remember, this is only the Dukes' 3rd game. App State playing in their 4th tilt. 5 wide. 1 comes in motion. That's the back, Palmer. Play clock at 0. And did JMU get the timeout in time? They did. A timeout taken by the Dukes just as that play clock rolled down to 0 here at the Rock.
Great job by Appalachian's defense. Lots of eye candy there on that last play. You got trips to the wide side of the field, twins to the boundary, and then you've got one of the receivers slides back, motions back to the backfield. They're trying to discern what is Appalachian going to do from a defensive line front, from a 2nd level front. Where are they going to line up? What are they planning on doing? They're going to bring the linebacker. They're going to bring the safety. But Appalachian did not give up their defensive coverage.
App State has allowed 2 out of 3 4th down conversions against them this year. JMU had to convert 4th down against Middle Tennessee. That was key in one of their early scoring drives. Again, the Dukes haven't necessarily been challenged yet this year. A 44-7 win over Middle Tennessee, 63-7 against Norfolk State before the open week last week. Of course, App State has been in 3 games decided by 4 or less points thus far. So these 2 teams, that's where the similarities kind of end in terms of how they have played out their first few games of the contest, or rather of the season. Van Horst in the backfield for this 4th and 2 play. Centeio taking some time, and another flag flies.
Wow.
Looks like another false start. That'd be the 2nd penalty against James Madison if it holds.
David Jackson, that's the difference of playing at Bridgeport Stadium. Playing at home and instead of playing in front of a crowd. You've not been able to work out those kinks, and obviously this crowd noise is getting to them. But I will tell you right now, Appalachian State is doing a great job of not giving away the defensive alignment, what their technique they're going to use, and that's throwing Centeio off a little. He's been doing a great job of reading defenses pre-snap, but ASU's doing a good job of disguising the defense, and he can't check into what he wants to check into.
Now Kalon Black in the backfield on what is 4th and 7. Centeio trying to get the conversion, keep this drive alive. Plenty of time in the pocket. Slings one out to Painter, the tight end, inside the 30-yard line, has the 1st down gain. And James Madison, after 2 penalties, converts on 4th and 7 to keep the drive alive.
Very good play by Centeio. Again, he takes a look, he goes through his read progression, finds his tight end out in the flats here. Good pass, good horizontal pass, good run after the catch. He did not have first down yardage, but good effort by Painter.
That's Painter and Horton both involved in the passing game thus far. So the tight end's getting some early run for the Dukes here as they keep that opening drive alive. Black, the setback, he'll get the handoff. His first touch of the day. JMU will rotate those running backs as Kalen Black, the redshirt freshman out of Virginia Beach, stopped by DeAndre Dingle-Prince. He had 9 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown last week against Norfolk State. His father, William, played at Norfolk State. I don't feel like that was probably a good phone call home after the game. Say, sorry, Pops, we took your alma mater to the shed, and I scored a touchdown.
He had to say, Pops, we ran for 462 yards, 235 yards rushing, and 227 yards passing on your offense, on your team.
And he's doing it again against Appalachian State inside the 20, has the first down gain, finally gang tackled at the 16, and JMU moves the chains again. 5-minute drive thus far. Ronald Clark on the stop for App State, but if you're Mike Shanahan, you feel good about play design, the run working, the pass working, tight ends involved. This is a beautiful first drive for the Dukes.
You know what? You talk about that Norfolk State game and this being a beautiful drive. They had 12 drives in that, 12 possessions in that Norfolk State game, and they scored 9 times. And so, again, he's been great at a great balance between running and throwing the football, and he's got a mobile quarterback who can put him in a great position.
Chris Thornton hasn't been featured yet. He's up at the top of your screen. Pass goes underneath. Another grab by the tight end, Zach Horton. Keyshawn Brown right there with him, and a minimal gain on first down. Call it a pickup of 1 for Horton, who's caught his second pass of the ball game.
I take Keyshawn Brown is going to be really busy today. He's the anchor, and they're going to utilize a tight end. They may take the back out of the backfield sometime, but he's going to stay busy. But great open field tackle, great reaction by Brown.
Latrell Palmer back in at the running back position. 2nd down and 9 inside App State's 15-yard line. Opening drive of the ball game. Centeio back to pass. App State hasn't gotten much pressure on him yet. That pass is completed in the middle of the field to Latrell Palmer. Jalen McLeod right there on the tackle. Stops him just at the 10-yard line, so about 4 yards shy of the first down. Another 3rd down and mid-range play. You've got Camden Wise, who has yet to connect on a field goal in his JMU career. And Kirk Signetti has gone for it on 4th down inside makeable field goal range already on this drive. We'll see if the Abs can get the stop, what JMU elects to do a little closer. Red zone, 7 of 7 last week against Norfolk State, all touchdowns. Centeio with that snap around his face. And the pass broken up. Trey Cobb swats it away. Intended for Reggie Brown, the wide receiver near side.
That's a heck of a play by Trey Cobb. That was James Madison trying to get a mismatch with a wide receiver on a linebacker. If you take a look at this, Reggie Brown's one of their better wide receivers being covered by Trey Cobb, a linebacker. Trey did a great job of keeping his long arm free to knock that ball down. Great effort by Trey Cobb.
Camden Wise had a 37-yard field goal blocked against Middle Tennessee State. This would be a 27-yard attempt. Near hash for the redshirt junior from Blacksburg, a former kickoff specialist, still looking for that first field goal. Good spot. Hold is down, and that kick sails through. So Camden Wise, his first field goal as a JMU Duke, puts our first points on the board on this day. 3-0, James Madison in front. 13-play drive puts the visitors on the board first here at Kid Brewer Stadium. Sun Belt Conference play. The godfather of college football throwing Yosef's head on last week here at The Rock. College game day in town, and they're still talking about it in the streets of Boone, as last week was quite the week for App State, not only having college game day on campus. Luke Combs, you saw him, one of the favorite sons of the university, back, and you end the ball game in such a dramatic fashion. I'm sure we'll probably show that clip here pretty soon. So far, JMU trying to spoil the party. 13-play, 65-yard scoring drive for the Dukes. Again, a 27-yard field goal off the foot. Camden Wise puts the first points on the board. Milan Tucker with an opportunity to return. And the specialist down to about the 24-yard line before the dog pile, literally, of Dukes will stop things. And the Mountaineers of Appalachian State will get that first drive. Let's go back to that play. Here it is, the Hail Mary heard around the college football universe. It's a 53-yard pass deflected by Dalton Stroman, and here comes our good friend Christian Horn into the end zone. Chaos ensues. Avery Hall, just like they drew it up, right?
Just like they drew it. Dave Jackson, I was telling you, I know for a fact for 33 years they've run that play every day in practice on Thursday, and I've never seen it work, and for it to work last Saturday it was pretty amazing to see.
First and 10 for App State from the 24.5. Daytrick Harrington, the starting tailback today, up across that line of scrimmage, maybe piles through for about 2-3 yards or so. Well, Harrington getting the start, the senior out of Douglasville, Georgia. 33 carries against Texas A&M, had a pretty heavy load that ball game. He needs 9 carries, now 8 as a matter of fact, for 300 career carries in his Mountaineer tenure. So one of the storylines to watch. Got a few stat lines on both sides to watch as these two storied programs do battle. Quite the history between the two. As we see the Apps with 2nd down and 8. Harrington again up the middle, little bit of space this time across the 35-yard line. That should be good for a first down. These two teams kind of champions reunited. 5 combined FCS titles between App State, who won from 05 to 07. Yeah, JMU claimed the titles in 04 and 16. And the 2006 here at the Rock, battle of the previous national champions. When you put that 04 JMU squad and the 05 App State squad together, that was one of the most anticipated home games ever here. And then 2 years later up at Bridgeforth Stadium, number 5 versus number 1. Chase Bryce, home run pass to Sean Davis, caught it in stride. That's a first down for the black and gold at the JMU 30-yard line.
Outstanding read by Chase Bryce. Again, you take a look at his eyes. He looks to the boundary at first, so doesn't see that guy open. He goes towards that receiver running the post route. Great throw, great protection, great catch, but really just good read progression by Chase Bryce.
Chris Chukwinecki in on the tackle for JMU. First down for the Mountaineers. Hitting over the middle. A 34-yard connection. It's a wildcat play for Anderson Castle, the Watauga County product. Will get stopped right at the line of scrimmage, may have lost a yard. Isaac Ukwu in on the tackle for JMU. Go back to Castle for a moment. Kevin Barbay said a special player, he can do so many things with his versatility. Anticipate a little bit of wildcat, a little bit more slot receiver maybe as well. He had a touchdown catch last week. His first touchdown receiving. He had a touchdown rushing a year ago. Nate Noel back on the field for the first time since the A&M ball game, and he's tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. James Carpenter gets to him from the nose guard position. 2 straight losses for the JMU defense.
That's what good penetration will do. James Carpenter gets great penetration. Appalachian, if you take a look here, tried to go with twins to the boundary, tight end to the boundary. So obviously defense is going to shift and align towards the boundary, but Carpenter was not fooled by that play. Great penetration, great tackle for a loss.
Kurt Signetti saw Carpenter for the first time at a camp at Elon when he was head coach there, said this guy is an excellent run defender. And Carpenter showing that ability, tackling Nate Noel for a loss. We got another penalty down, false start by App State. We've seen 3 false start penalties combined now between these two teams.
You look at this James Madison defensive front. Carpenter's their leader. I mean, he's not a big guy. He's 6'2", 276. You got the defensive tackle Jamar Edwards. He's 6'3", 281. You got Mikal Kamara, who's 6', 272, and then you got Isaac Ukwu, who's 261. But they are quick as cats, and they get after folks, and they're very aggressive up front.
3rd and 16 after that big gain. App State stalled out. Deshaun Davis tackled in the backfield. 3 straight losses pitched by the JMU defense after a 34-yard gain on the pass play from App State. Chris Chukwinecki in on the tackle, and not only the Mountaineers popped out of near red zone gain, they are back in a position to punt the ball from midfield.
That's a great instinctive play by Chukwinecki. I mean, again, you think about it, the tight end should have gotten out there to block him. He instinctively got in front of that block, did not get reached, and just a good instinctive play, good open field tackle.
Josh Surratt back to return this punt as Howell tries to pin him inside the 5. Howell's punt turning over and turns into a saw blade into the end zone for the touchback. So JMU gets the stand defensively. Duke's ball when we come back to the Rock. Kid Brewer Stadium. They're packed in for a good one between JMU and App State. On behalf of our entire crew, we offer our condolences to the entire Cignetti family as we reflect on the Hall of Fame career of Frank Cignetti. Frank Sr., he passed away in the hours prior to James Madison's win over Norfolk State a couple of weeks ago. He was a longtime coach of IUP and Pitt, college football icon, remembered by so many today. Curt Cignetti said that the irony was not lost on him at all, that on the day of his dad's passing, JMU agreed to a running clock with Norfolk State last week. They only played 10 minutes of that fourth quarter, and it was a reminder to Pitt and Notre Dame being in a similar situation. The JMU team rallying around their leader who coached that game after his father passed away early, and he also wasn't lost on the fact that his dad passed away during an open week, so his football family could properly pay respects to him and get about the business, the family business of football. And Avery, you know that that's emotional, but also probably oddly comforting to be on a football field given those circumstances.
You know what, football family, brothers, DC is a defensive coordinator at Boston College. Father passed the day of the game. Again, tough situation. Prayers go out to the Cignetti family, but you know that Dad is proud of what Curt is doing and what Curt is going to do in his football career. But sad day for the Cignetti family on that Saturday.
Todd Centeio trying to keep the vibes alive. Ball deflected there by App State defensively. Stephen Jones nearly had his hands on that first elusive interception. App State with only one interception total as a team in now about 100 pass attempts against them this year. Remember, App State second in the country since 2015 in interceptions with 117 total. So the well has been a little bit dry for Dale Jones' defense. The Mountaineers want to try to dial up the takeaway machine here today against JMU. Duke's now with 3rd down and 11, 3-point lead for James Madison. They got a pretty nice stop after App State made a 34-yard gain into JMU territory. Now the Dukes deep and pressured for the first time. And down goes Centeio. Nick Hampton and Dexter Lawson get to him.
Outstanding blitz by Nick Hampton. Again, no tight ends, so you've got 5 on really 3 or 4 the way it looked pre-snap, but Nick Hampton came from the outside. Just a great timing, great job of beating the tackle, and good sack on Nick Hampton's part.
So a deep punt away from Sam Clark, the Aussie punter. He would be 9th in the Sun Belt if he had enough attempts, about a 41-yard average for him. Tyler Page back deep to return for App State, the SMU transfer, averaging about 12.5 yards a return. Clark's punt, a wobbler off the side of his foot, gets into JMU territory and takes a healthy Dukes roll inside the 45-yard line. They'll spot it at the 42, and we come back to action here in Boone. 3-0, James Madison on top of App State. The Dukes in front in their Sun Belt Conference opener. All this talk of Hail Marys this week, it would be natural to ask, when was the last game that ended on a Hail Mary with no time left? And wouldn't it just be interesting if it wasn't against the same opponent that we're playing today? James Madison and Appalachian State. Mountaineers converted a 21-7 come-from-behind scenario. They win 27-21 on the last play. That was Craig Styron on the catch, DJ Campbell on the throw, and Avery Hall was down there celebrating something.
I was celebrating, and Chase Bryce is not the only one that can throw a Hail Mary. DJ Campbell can do so as well.
Chase Bryce has found a throwing mate today. Deshaun Davis, his 3rd catch on the day, and moves Appalachian State inside the Dukes territory. Now, the last time that the Mountaineers hit a big gainer, they were stymied. 3 straight tackles for loss by James Madison defensively. Nate Noel will put an end to that string as he carries inside the 30-yard line. Noel missed last week. A guy that is important in blitz pickup. That's going to be important today with the pressures that James Madison brings. So getting him back is not only about running back productivity, it's about somebody that can anticipate things from a defensive pickup perspective. 5-yard gain for Noel, 2nd down and 5. Noel the pistol back. Pass back against the grain. That's Caden Robinson inside the 25-yard line. Be about a yard shy of the 1st down. So 3rd down and short coming up for the Mountaineers. James Carpenter, Josh Surratt in on the tackle for JMU.
Horizontal passing game, twins to both sides. Flip that football out there to Caden Robinson. You won't see it He won't get a lot of credit, but Cooper Hodges did a great job of getting out there from his right tackle position, trying to land a block for Caden Robinson.
Offset tight end right. Nate Noel running through the pile, trying to get to the line of scrimmage and advance forward. Had to get to the 22 to move the chains. He gets to the 21 and a half, and that's a first down for App State.
You know, getting into the red zone has not been a problem for Appalachian in the 2 drives, but executing in the red zone has been tough for most teams that have faced these Dukes. Again, Middle Tennessee, again, they were 0 for 0 in the red zone, and of course, obviously, Norfolk State got in the red zone 1 time and couldn't score. So the Dukes have been tough in the red zone.
Cam Peoples' first carry of the day, and he's ankle tackled pretty quickly. Mateo Jackson in out of the linebacking spot, drops Peoples for a loss. Peoples came out late last week against Troy, kind of hobbling over to the sideline right before all the Hail Mary madness started. It was told to us that he was a little limited in practice this week, but will be part of that stable of running backs for App State. We've already seen Daetra Carrington, Nate Noel, Cam Peoples, a Wildcat play for Anderson Castle. And I'm sure we'll see a few more before the day is over.
A deep running back room will help if Cam Peoples is banged up.
2nd down and 10. Peoples up the middle, a little better surge that time to the 15-yard line. Taurus Jones on the stop out of the middle linebacking core. One of the young linebackers to impress Frank Signetti early. Had a fumble recovery on a trick play against Middle Tennessee State. He actually picked off a backward lateral. We'll see how Taurus Jones and the Dukes continue on. We are through 1 quarter of play here in Boone. 3-0 James Madison in front, but the Mountaineers in the red zone when we come back to the Rock. It's been quite the wild ride for Appalachian State. You see that Week 1 ball game, 63-61 loss to North Carolina. Got a lot of national media attention because of the 40 points App State scored in the 4th quarter. Then you see the 3-point win over then number 6 Texas A&M. That brought game day, and then that brought one crazy end to that college game day here in Boone last week. The Hail Mary win, Christian Horn on the catch, and the pandemonium continues here in Boone as we start the 2nd quarter. 3-0 James Madison in front. App State driving in the red zone. Pass across the middle. Caught. And a first down inside the 5 for App State as the Mountaineers utilize Henry Pearson, the tight end, to get him inside the 5. Sam Kidd on the stop for the Dukes.
Take a look at this. Good read by Chase. He's looking at that tight end all the way, but wanted to give Pearson time to get down the field. Knew the safety was off a few more yards than he needed to be. Good throw, good catch, just good execution by Appalachian State's offense.
Cam Peoples, the pistol back on 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Handoff Peoples, bouncing off defenders to the 2-yard line. Q Reed coming out of the free safety spot makes the touchdown saving tackle for James Madison. The Dukes actually held Norfolk State out of the end zone at the end of the 2nd quarter of their game 2 weeks ago. That was the one red zone chance that Avery Hall was talking about a few moments ago, and had a situation where they had one play from the 2, time winding down, and JMU got a deflected pass to send Norfolk State to the locker room scoreless, and would end up going on to a rout. It was already a rout at that point, but it was kind of a exclamation point ending to a perfect first half for the Dukes. Peoples across the middle, across the goal line, touchdown App State. Cam Peoples in the end zone for the 30th time in his Mountaineer career, and the black and gold in the lead for the first time today.
Has to be a blow to the James Madison psyche. First time they've been scored on in the red zone. Excellent formation by Appalachian. You pretty much have double tights. You look at this, double tights. Good job by Pearson coming back, doing a kick out block. Really, Cam was able to just walk into the end zone. Good push up front, but good formation, putting really 9 men in the box and making James Madison play big boy football.
Howell's PAT straight, or rather Hughes PAT straight through the pipes, and we've got a timeout on the field. App State with a 9-play, 58-yard drive that heads to pay dirt. 7-3, the Mountaineers in front on the Peoples touchdown. You are in the living room of the Bulls right there. Big part of that scoring drive for App State. 9 plays, 58 yards. Cam Peoples across the goal line, and the Mountaineers take the lead. And you see how App State has been able to solidify themselves in the Sun Belt. 57-11 winning percentage since joining the league in 2014. You talk about what James Madison wants to emulate. Kirk Signetti drawing on the parallels of App State's FCS dominance coming into the Sun Belt at the FBS level and being able to succeed relatively early, and that's what he wants for his program. And his program a little bit more advanced in doing so. JMU coming out of the semifinals of the FCS playoffs last year. App State was not at that same level of success when they made the transition. So we'll see how all of this will play out for JMU over the next few years as they get that scholarship number up and they ultimately are ready to compete for championships. And this being a season that they're not bowl eligible, but you can, he said, we can't necessarily play in the game, but that doesn't mean that we can't play for the title. And I think that's a wise statement from the head coach of a program making this first step.
You know, he's built the foundations there for them to emulate Appalachian State. Again, he's built the right culture. He has the right players. Now what he is going to learn, David Jackson, that in the group of 5 is really hard to keep talented football players because of the transfer portal. But again, he's got the right foundation. He's got the right people in place. So I expect James Madison to stay on the right trajectory.
Latrell Palmer puts it on the ground. That ball loose, recovered by App State. That's recovered by App State. Palmer trying to cut up to the right. Lost the football. And the Mountaineers have it back. Trey Cobb in the mix. Once again, Deshaun McKnight may have been the one to pop it loose. Let's watch it again.
A good exchange. He just puts that ball on the turf. His knee gets kind of jammed, and that pain will shock you a little bit. Again, he's trained to hang on to that football, but he did put it on the ground. And look, in a game where you have 2 similar teams, 2 physical football teams that want to run the football and stop the run, it's going to be who makes the most mistakes when it comes to turnovers and penalties, and also too who makes the best adjustments after a first few of these series in this football game.
10th quarter of football this year for JMU, their first turnover offensively. That is amazing considering playing Middle Tennessee in that opener. Chase Bryce going for the quick strike down the sideline. That pass complete. And the Mountaineers use Michael Hetzel at the receiver position. His second catch had a 20-yarder against North Carolina in the season opener.
Michael Hetzel was the receiver of that pass, but I bet if Chase Bryce, if you take a look, you will not be able to see it via this clip. Nice throw, but if he could take that throw back, he would go to Tyler Page, who was running down the seam wide open, but still a completion, and Chase Bryce is 6 of 6 on the day.
8-yard pickup on first down. Harrington trying to pop the corner, has the first down, and out of bounds he scampers. First and goal for the Mountaineers as Bryce and crew moving quickly, and Daetrick Harrington gets his 4th carry of the day.
Again, that's just good leverage on the outside by Anderson Hardy, the left tackle. Again, tight end doing a good job of blocking, and just hard running by Daetrick Harrington.
Harrington 58 yards against Troy, had a 19-yard touchdown run to cap that opening drive in the 3rd quarter. That saw App State take the lead after trailing at the half. A seesaw affair from there. Harrington this time pulled down in the backfield. Excellent recognition by Jamare Edwards, the defensive tackle. 5 seasons he spent at Marshall, a ton of time in the trenches for the Thundering Herd. He brings some experience to that defensive front for JMU.
He brings some experience, and he brings some quickness and some explosiveness. And for him to be 6'3", 281, that was an excellent inside move from his defensive tackle. He was actually in the 3 technique, got outside the guard, got in the backfield quickly, and I bet that was probably an X stunt where they slanted him down inside because he got there awfully fast.
Monty Marshall in for the first time. He's a safety valve for Bryce, who runs away from some pressure, looking for that back corner pylon. Is that a catch? Touchdown, black and gold. What a grab by Miller Gibbs.
Wow, what a throw by Chase Bryce. Really, that play was created and manufactured by Chase Bryce. The offensive line did a good job of protecting him in the middle. He bought time. If you can see the play here, he's going to buy some time. Look, he's going to roll out to his right to buy some more time once that corner blitz, and knew that he had space in behind the safeties. Good, excellent throw. Dropped it in only where he could drop it. Great throw.
Nothing like a touchdown pass into triple coverage. But he knew that he put it in the spot where only his receiver Miller Gibbs could catch it. His 2nd touchdown grab of the year. PAT good from Michael Hughes. And the Mountaineers with back-to-back scores after going down 3-0 early. Early 2nd quarter here in Boone. 14-3 now. App State in front. Miller Gibbs on the board for the black and gold here in Boone. We told you these two teams had a history. Look at that guy right there. Avery Hall was on the call with Chuck Hushin for a playoff battle between James Madison and App State, a 1-point win for the Mountaineers. You see Armani Edwards finishing off a touchdown drive. He had 258 total yards, 3 touchdowns in that game. App would swipe away a field goal try late. JMU was positioning to try to kick for the win. Jacques Roman knocked it loose. Pierre Banks covered it. And the Mountaineers moved on at the quarterfinals, or in the semifinals rather, of the FCS playoffs, and ended up heading on. Another national championship, 3rd of 3.
That was an exciting football game, and they'll put anybody on TV nowadays. But yeah, that was an exciting game. Again, it went backwards and forwards in that last 10 minutes. And again, just a bunch of good playmakers, Landers as well as Armani Edwards. Landers is the quarterback for JMU. Just some good playmakers and some guys who had a lot of want to and a lot of desire to win a football game.
I think that's one of the most exciting things about this Sun Belt East is that you bring James Madison and App State together. You bring Marshall back together with both of those teams, and obviously so many opportunities for rivalry between Marshall and JMU, ODU, but App State's got previous conference history with Marshall, great postseason history with James Madison, and now conference mates playing each other for the first time. JMU struck first, but App State has come with back-to-back touchdowns. Let's see if Todd Centeo can get the Dukes moving again as he hits Reggie Brown with the opening pass play. JMU now with just 43 yards of offense entering this drive. Caden Sullivan on the tackle for App State after a 7-yard pickup for Brown, who was out last week, had a minor injury. Kurt Signetti said, why chance it? No big deal. If it was a conference game, he probably would have played. But he has an experience factor, 25 games. This is 24th career start for JMU. Centeo over the middle's got his man there again. That's Brown. First down, Dukes into App State territory at the 48.
Okay, let's go back to the play before this play. They attack Brown out in the boundary, and again he's covered by Dexter Lawson. Again, they go back to Brown. On this play, if you look, great throw by Centeo, a great catch by Reggie Brown. Lucky tackle there by Dexter Lawson. But it's really clear that James Madison is going to attack Dexter Lawson's side of the field. They're not going to go towards Stephen Ross or Nick Ross, Stephen Jones, I'm sorry, or Nick Ross, but it looks like they're trying to attack Dexter Jackson.
Kalon Black with the first down gain for JMU as they inch closer to the App State red zone.
Dexter Lawson. I said Dexter Jackson. That's another great player, but Dexter Lawson.
He could probably still play a little bit. I mean, he's 15 years removed from the game. He played a little bit in the league. I'd say he'd like a shot. Handoff to Latrell Palmer, who had that fumble that set up the short App State touchdown a moment ago. Palmer holds on this time for a gain of 2. Nick Hampton on the stop. Hampton made some noise a little earlier in this game. He had a quarterback sack earlier. He moves into a tie for 6th all-time in sacks with Avery Hall.
Records are made to be
featured all over.
Records are made to be broken.
Centeo, bothered by pressure, had to heave that one away and nearly threw that into trouble. It'll go down as an incompletion, just the 3rd miss today by Centeo. Nick Hampton.
Good pressure here by Nick Hampton. And speaking of Nick, he's tied my sack record here at Appalachian State, which, you know, it's great because, again, he's a hard worker. What I will tell Nick and all of these outside linebackers that are passing me, I actually got the sack, 24 sacks from the inside. I was playing a 3 technique when I got my sack. So
Centeo down the sideline is pass incomplete, intended for Reggie Brown. Coverage by Ethan Johnson, the true freshman.
Got my sacks inside.
I was waiting for that.
Plus, that was in a running conference. I didn't have as many opportunities to get sacks because everybody ran the option back then, and they ran the football. I'm not a sore loser, am I? No, I'm just kidding. I'm happy for Nick Hampton.
So the Mountaineers go offside on that play. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down for JMU. 3rd and 4 to manage now. So got to keep that one in the back of your mind. App State got a 3rd down stop negated by a penalty. They have had 3rd down issues all year long. Thornton in the slot, top of your screen. That's Black moving in motion to the bottom. And that pass broken up from behind. Stephen Jones Jr. on the deflection. That would have been a 1st down gain on 3rd and 4, but instead now Kirk Cignetti with a decision to make, down 14-3.
Cignetti again, we talked earlier. Look here, Centeio goes to, there's three progression, tries to go to Ravenel, but Stephen Jones has great coverage, does a good job of stepping in and knocking that ball down and really baiting the quarterback to say, I dare you to throw it so I can knock it down. But obviously they're not going to attack Stephen Jones because of play like that.
0 for 4 the Dukes on third down. They are 1 of 1 on fourth down, and they're trying it again right here, or at least to try to get App State off sides. Centeio will let it fly. That ball's overthrown, and the Mountaineers get a stop on fourth down. Thornton the intended target, Dexter Lawson in coverage, and the Mountaineers follow up 2 straight scores with a defensive stop just outside their own red zone.
You know, we're seeing the defensive backs, and they're being kind of highlighted here against it. Centeio dropping back. He goes through his read progression across the field, doesn't see anything, goes to Thornton. Again, just overthrows him. And let me tell you why he overthrew him. Great pressure by Jordan Earl, by DeAndre Dingle Prince, Hansky Plant, and Nick Hampton, and those guys. They made Centeio throw that football before he really wanted to.
120 yards of total offense for App State as the Mountaineers take over after the fourth down stop. Monty Marshall on the carry for the Mountaineers. Jamare Edwards, the tackle for James Madison. 3-yard gain on the play as Marshall gets the carry. App State with 91 passing, only 29 rushing yards prior to that play, so a little bit of an imbalance. App State about 51%, 49% pass to run coming into play this afternoon. Chase Bryce, perfect in the passing department. Hands off to Marshall, left side, has the corner. Across midfield as a blocker. And that's a Mountaineer first down into JMU territory to the 41.
Power football at its best. If you look at the way ASU lined up here, they kind of had a little leverage on the defense. They outnumbered the defense on the boundary side, so they attacked the boundary side. Great run by Monty Marshall.
Little tempo look here as Bryce goes play action, looking for the deep pass down the side to Stroman. That ball deflected and a flag comes in at the 15-yard line. That was pressure there from Xavier Coakley. He was in coverage, stride for stride with Dalton Stroman.
Stroman had done a great job of positioning himself to catch that 50-50 ball. But if Chase throws that football just with a little more zing and leads Stroman into the end zone, he could still be running.
That was Bryce's first incompletion of the day. 7 of 8 passing, 91 yards and a touchdown thus far.
Let's take a look at the positioning here. He really had it positioned. And plus he's 6'4", guys. He's 6'4". He's towering over the defender there. If he throws that ball just a couple yards out front, he runs in the end zone.
Nate Noel, the pistol back across the middle. There's a gain to Stroman. Open space, touchdown, Mountaineers.
Wow.
Explosive step from Dalton Stroman after the catch, and the Mountaineers on the board for the 3rd straight possession.
Chase Bryce threw a dime. He made up for pretty much he didn't throw it further enough on the previous play, but great throw, great protection. Take a look here. Good protection up front. He has to get rid of it quickly. Excellent throw. Throws it where the receiver's not going to take a hit, and he continued to run with the football.
And the perfect cut back by Stroman. Sometimes it's about where the receiver's eyes move after they make the catch. He saw the right read and got into the end zone on a 27-yard strike. The kick from Michael Hughes is good, and the Mountaineers of Appalachian State have dropped the hammer after going down 3-0. 21 unanswered by the black and gold here at the Rock. 8:37 to go in the second. Home team stretching out a 17-point lead. We talked about championship pedigree between these two squads as they meet in Sun Belt Conference play for the first time. They'll battle each other for that East title, no doubt. And they have been setting standards for a long, long time in terms of championship success. You count the rings, there are 5 of them right there. Of course, App State had the 3 straight, 05 to 07. JMU had a national championship before that run began. And then the 2016 title win over Youngstown State, back in the title game in 19 semifinals last year. This has been a storied program. Part of that success is what fueled the jump and a competitive leap that they feel like they can make pretty early in Sun Belt play, as you see the kickoff return there for the Dukes. And a James Madison team, Avery Hall, that needs to return to some of the things that we saw successful in that first drive and early in the last drive, and that's attacking the middle of the field. Only 81 yards of total offense for a team that averages over 500 a game through their first 2 weeks.
Well, they need to return to it, but I will tell you, part of the deficiency or the ability to move the football right now is actually the adjustments that have been made early in this football game by defensive coordinator Dale Jones. Again, he's trying to give Todd, the quarterback, the option. He's given them the option to go to and taking away a lot of different options on this offense. So again, these their inability to move the football is strategic by Appalachian's a strategic effort by Appalachian's defensive coordinator.
Centeo on the run. There's a flag that's thrown in the vicinity of a hold potentially here. So hold that thought.
Offense number 89.
Defensively, what you try and do, your goal is to cover the field at the first level, second level, third level, DJ. And what Dale is doing is he's given, just like James Madison's offensive coordinator wants to attack the weakness of the defense. Well, Dale Jones wants to underscore the weakness of the offense, and he's only giving them what he'd like for them to see right now.
Kalon Black, after the holding penalty, trying to get that right corner, chops his way back up to the 22-yard line. Dexter Lawson in on the stop. We have not received any word from James Madison as to why Percy Ajayi-Obase is not playing in this game. Top running back on the list, 85 yards per game. That's ranked among the top 10 in the Sun Belt coming into play today. Ajayi-Obase not on the injury report. Nothing said to us during the week that would lead us to believe that he would be out, so we'll see if maybe something in the second half transpires to get JMU's veteran running back into this contest. We see another pass thrown in the direction of Reggie Brown, who's back from injury this week. Dexter Lawson again in on the tackle, another flag down as well.
You talk about the running back who's not playing. You did a great job at his name, and I'm not even going to try and butcher it. But
just say Percy.
Percy. That's over 2,500 yards, over 33 touchdowns. Not in the ball game. I mean, he was an FCS All-American, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
And so he's a talented running back. So I'm surprised that he's not in the game. He's a big back, 6 foot, 213 pounds.
Offside, defense number 43. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
So I'm surprised he's not in the football game.
So the Mountaineers penalized. There have been a few flags thrown here by Trennis Livingston's crew here today. Time of possession relatively even entering this drive. James Madison tries to tack on a score here midway through the second quarter. It was a 3-0 start for the Dukes. App State's gone 3 consecutive possessions with touchdowns. One of them caused by a turnover in tricky territory. Todd Centeo on the roll once again. His sideline pass off the fingertips of the intended target, Devin Ravenel. Ravenel had a huge game last week. 2 touchdown catches against Norfolk State. 5 catches, 55 yards on the year. 3rd and 7 coming up. Part of the issue for James Madison has been an inability to convert on 3rd down. They're 0 for 4 in the ball game. Remember, they were 2nd in the Sun Belt, 9th in the country in terms of 3rd down conversions offensively heading into play this afternoon. Latrell Palmer to the right of Centeo. 2 wide to the bottom of your screen. Centeo pressured, lost the football. Picked up by App State, then lost again. Who's got it? Who wants the pigskin? The Mountaineers saying they've got it now at the bottom of the pile. Got an official in there as well. Tyler Bird came out of the bottom of the pile with it, and the ruling is black and gold football.
I tell you what, excellent play call. Take a look here. Again, Nick Hampton putting pressure on Centeo. Great job of the swim technique on the tackle by Hampton. He's long, he's strong, he's gotten bigger. He's 235 pounds now. Just a good technique of swimming that big tackle, getting back there and putting the pressure on the quarterback.
You just see everybody in there. Hampton caused it, nearly got it back. Tyler Bird came out of the bottom of the pile with it, but will await the official ruling. Right now they say Jalen McLeod was the one that recovered the football.
You know, what a dichotomy. You think about this JMU football. They had zero turnovers coming into this football game. They've already fumbled twice here.
And now 2 in deep territory. Bryce, with some pressure, has to throw that football away as he's rocked right after the pass.
That's a little miscommunication there. You know, you look at he was outside the tackle box, but he had anticipated a receiver check down. I'm sorry, not a check down receiver. He expected a check down running back to be out in the flats, and the actual back went up into the middle to block. So again, just miscommunication there by Appalachian State.
Nate Noel, the pistol back, 2nd down and 10. There's 7 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Mountaineers trying to score on 4 straight possessions. Pass out to Caden Robinson. Inside the 10, fighting tacklers. And now to the 5-yard line. That's 1st and goal for App State. Jalen Walker popped him out of bounds before the score.
Jalen Walker was very lucky to make that tackle. Take a look at this. Again, there's the vertical passing game and then the horizontal passing game. Quick pass. This is just like a sweep, but you're accelerating the sweep. Caden Robinson does a great job of just turning it upfield. A lot of receivers will dance and try and be pretty. He turned it up and got what he could get. Outstanding play by Caden Robinson.
David Larkins in at tight end for App State. Inside the 5-yard line, he's that fullback lined up in front of Nate Noel. Handoff goes to Noel. Up the gut he goes, spins in, and gets across. Touchdown, black and gold. Nate Noel across the goal line for the 10th time in his Mountaineer career. And that's 4 consecutive touchdown drives for the home team.
Just power football. If we see a replay of this play, again, that's an overload to the left side. Everybody's blocking down. Kick out by the backside guard. Nate Noel does what he does and just lowers his head, has great balance, gets in the end zone.
Sam Kidd and Q Reed tried that goal line tackle, but Noel with a little bit too much forward motion through.
You know, Nate's not a big back, but he's a powerful built guy and has a lot of power in that frame.
Nate Noel adding 4 carries, 12 yards, and a touchdown back to the ledger here as App State scored on 4 consecutive drives to open up a 28-3 lead here at The Rock. Mountaineers have opened it up here, 28-3. They lead James Madison. About 6 minutes to go here in the second quarter. David Jackson, Avery Hall back with you today. The App State 12-4 all-time against James Madison, the 2-1 record. And you know, it looks so innocent, 2-1, but we all know that those are some of the most dramatic football games that have been played this year in college football. And we're kind of void of the drama here for a second. Avery, I don't know what to do. This isn't a one-possession ball game, and we don't have squirrels coming out of the woods to make crazy plays. And I mean, right now you've got a little bit of separation. We'll see if it stays that way. This is a JMU team that, in their FCS legacy, known for a good comeback. They've had that history against App State before.
2008 is a great example. I mean, Appalachian was up 21-0 at halftime, and JMU, David Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, won at 35-32.
They did. And
so, again, this football game may not be over. But you're right. We need a little suspense. That's what we're acclimated to. And right now, it probably feels a little uncomfortable for these Appalachian fans to be up 28-3.
Kalon Black set up in the gun next to Todd Centeo. Black on the carry, just trying to keep this JMU offense on the field, and Black gets loose for a 1st down gain. Time of possession favoring James Madison. Oddly enough, the 2 turnovers have really hurt. They've been in short field positions, and that has aided App State in their scoring. You go back and look at those scoring drives. App State's got 2 touchdowns, actually 3 of their 4 touchdowns in this game, all under 2 minutes of clock time. That's a little bit odd this year for the way that App State has been in terms of chewing up clock and maintaining possession. You see Trey Cobb in there with the tackle of Black in the backfield.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with the short field. I mean, I know the 3-play 68-yarder was a little lengthy, and they made some explosive plays, but, you know, having a short field, you know, has kind of helped too on that 1 play possession when we went 3 plays and 16 yards. But Appalachian has been very efficient on offense today.
Trell Palmer back in at the running back spot. Second down and 9. Centeio on the keep. Good block out there on the far sideline. Cobb pushes him out of bounds. A 3-yard pickup, could have been more. And we've talked about Todd Centeio's rushing prowess. 117 on the ground to go with 287 in the air in that win over Middle Tennessee State. And that was a game that Kirk Cignetti said he and his staff had absolutely no idea what to expect. Todd Centeio was a little shaky in terms of read progression to start that game, but then he sets a JMU record for touchdowns. Isaac Ukwu said, "We knew he was good, but we didn't expect him to go quite that crazy." That was a statement victory for JMU to start out their Sun Belt run, and that was one of the more impressive non-conference wins for the Sun Belt early on. Middle Tennessee, a perennial bowl contender.
Absolutely.
Play clock down to 2. Duke's going to have to burn a timeout. Todd Centeio trying to get signals from the sideline, couldn't get him in quick enough. That'll stop the clock with 4:21 to go until halftime.
Appalachian made that very, very difficult for him to read the offense. If you look at Centeio, he claps, he likes like he's clapped. That is designed to have the defense to go ahead and show you their alignment and coverage. That's why quarterbacks clap. They want to show you the coverage and the alignment. Appalachian's just doing a fantastic job today of not moving. The safety's not walking up. The linebacker's not making an adjustment or sliding to the right or left to make sure he's covering his gaps. So when that doesn't happen, the quarterback has a hard time with his read on which part of the field he's going to attack. Every quarterback who walks up knows he's going to attack the middle, the boundary, or the field. But if the defense doesn't show you where they're going to align or line up, it's hard, and that's why he had to call that timeout.
James Madison's record against App State, been a bit of a struggle. It's been a bit of a struggle here in this second quarter as the Mountaineers have opened it up. Black on the run into App State territory. The ball comes loose again. App State says they've got it again. There was no whistle, and they say Mountaineer football. Nick Ross came out with it. The ruling on the field is a fumble. We'll check the replay and see if this one will be reviewed, but turnover is costly for a team that had not coughed up the ball all year long.
Take a look at this. Centeio gives the football. Good hard running. Good hard running, but you got to sometimes just go down. That ball pops out. If they can't, it looks like his knee was down.
They're going to review this, and I think there's a chance that this one gets overturned. It looked as though Palmer was down. Not only his knee was down, but he was laying on his back as that one was stripped out.
Let's take a look at it, because again, if you can't tell if the knee is down or the elbow's down, that's going to be hard to overturn. But if we could take a look at that play again, I mean, it'd be cleared. I mean, it seemed hard. It was a bang-bang play, but it seemed pretty hard to tell if that knee was down.
Our Sunbelt official is Trennis Livingston, and he is conferring with John Almond and the crew upstairs. We're going to look at that replay again. The ruling on the field was a fumble, so Avery mentioned that there's got to be indisputable evidence. You probably got that on your football bingo card for today, that phrase. And you have to have that indisputable evidence to get that overturned.
Yeah, again, this is going to be a tough one. And if they also, not only will they have to see if he fumbled, let's see if we can tell. I thought that ball was out before his knee hit the ground. Now, the other thing is, if they decide that they return up, they're going to have to look at the spot again, because he didn't have the first down if you go off the knee.
Here comes the ruling.
There's no fumble. The ball will be placed at the 48-yard line, 4th and 1.
So great placement, though, because, again, if you go off that knee, the ball was on the 48-yard line, because, again, he had already marked it on the 48 when that football came out. So great job by the refs.
So now Kirk Cignetti with his team in App State territory, needing a spark before halftime. We'll see if his offense comes out. He's gone for it on 4th down twice today. James Madison's resembled App State a little bit more in that regard. We have not seen an App State 4th down play today. The Mountaineers came into battle with the 2nd most 4th down attempts in FBS and the 3rd most conversions, but it's been James Madison playing the 4th down card, and they're going to do it again right here. need the spark. The Dukes trying to climb back into this one. A 3-0 start for JMU. It's been all App State since. 28 second quarter points.
They're going to try and get Appalachian to jump first.
Handoff goes to Black. Sidesteps, has the first down and more as he gets the corner at the 40. What a play design by Mike Shanahan for the first down run.
You know, I think some of the Appalachian players were thinking, what I was thinking, they're going to try and, you know, extend the call, but again, or the play calling to try and get them to jump off sides. But just a great run by Black. He's been running hard. And again, they've got a stable of running backs and can kind of go with Latrell or Kalon and still be productive.
Black, instead it's Centeo on the carry, trying to slice back across the middle inside the 25-yard line. That's another first down gain. Trey Cobb and Karan White chasing from behind. Go back to Kalon Black for a moment. 8 carries, 58 yards. He's averaging better than 7 yards a touch. And again, still no word on Percy Ajay Obase as to why he is not playing in the contest. But with him out, Kalon Black has been the stable force in the running back room here for JMU. 2 receivers left, 1st and 10 Dukes. And the Mountaineers with good eyes on the QB that time. Centeo on the keep. And the Mountaineers weren't fooled by the play misdirection.
That's misdirection, a good old misdirection option type play. And Centeo clearly was going to run that from the start. Didn't fool Appalachian's front 3, front 4 of linebacking core. Good play up front by Jordan Earl and Ansky and DeAndre on the front side of that defense.
Check the tight end, Zach Horton, bottom of your screen. We've seen 4 passes to tight ends by JMU today, but none in the last couple of possessions. Black the setback. Centeo looking out of the backfield. Got his man, 5-yard line, piles through at the goal line and in for the touchdown. Kalon Black out of the backfield for the Dukes score, and here come the Streamers at the Rock as the Dukes have their first touchdown on the day.
Tell you what, good play call by Mike Shanahan. Good throw out there, really out in the flats there. Kalon Black, good hands, good soft hands, and good run. He runs hard, and it's hard for Ross to even try to attack him or even tackle him because he's such a strong runner and built so well from the hips down, just runs hard.
Yeah,
so
he went right through Ronald Clark there at the goal line. 23-yard touchdown for Kalon Black, as he gives the Dukes a much-needed stabilizing touchdown before the break. Remember, App State will have the football to start the second half. PAT attempt, a good one for Camden Wise, and JMU finishes off an 8-play, 75-yard drive, just under 4 minutes of clock time. And Avery, more importantly probably for Kirk Cignetti, is you keep the JMU defense off the field here in the second quarter. They've given up 28 points. They've had a couple of short field scores to deal with. You need some time to make some adjustments, and you need a sustained drive, and that's exactly what JMU got.
And that's what that 8-play, 75-yard drive did. And then also, too, it gives the offense confidence when they can go down and drive the football down the field on this Appalachian defense.
You see, JMU has been at just about every level of football imaginable since starting their program back in 1972, and again finishing up at the FCS level in the Colonial Athletic Association. Now making that jump to the FBS, and while this may be their first game as a member of the Sun Belt going up against another member of the Sun Belt, I'm sure in some cases it's nice to see the shield on the other side of your opponent. You know that Kirk Cignetti's got a program that is stable enough to come in and be immediately competitive, and while the score may be a little bit separated for now, you know the Dukes have got plenty of fight in them as they start this journey in Sun Belt Conference play. So 2:16 to go. App State takes the fair catch on the kickoff. 18-point lead for the Mountaineers with the ball when they come out of halftime. Avery Hall, your coach Barbet and that offensive staff, how aggressive are you right now for this final 2:16?
Well, if you look at the last 3 weeks of Appalachian football, what transpired at UNC, all those touchdowns scored. We scored 9 touchdowns and we lost. Appalachian lost. Again, you look at what happened at the end of the Troy game, okay? And so I would be aggressive and continue to try to move the football, at least chew the clock up and try and put points on the board.
Play action fake to Noel. Bryce across his body and off the fingertips of Caden Robinson. Boy, Sam Kidd was in a great spot for a pick. But just off his outstretched fingertips, and Robinson couldn't come to the rolling stop.
Chase Bryce did a good job of going through his read progression. He could have gone towards that quick out, but decided to go with the deep out, but just didn't put enough muster on the football to get it there. If he puts a little more muster on that, I mean, it gets to the receiver, and he's still running a little bit.
9 of 11 passing for Bryce. Talk more about that in a moment. You just saw Dustin Kearns, our featured guest, at halftime. Stick around for that. App State men's basketball coach. 2 straight postseason appearances for black and gold on the hardwood, and their season getting ready to start before we know it. You can tell by the temperature when you have to start putting jackets on. That means it's almost basketball season. People had to find the fleece after Thursday night, early yesterday morning. It got fall quick here in the high country.
Speaking of basketball, Coach Kearns has made basketball fun again in the mountains, and people enjoy going to the games. I have season tickets now. I got season tickets, and made it fun again. They play a great brand of basketball.
1 second left on the play clock as Bryce on 3rd down and long gets dropped. Mikhail Kamara comes up with the hit, and the ball pops loose, and JMU has the football inside the Mountaineer 10. Why? How quickly the tables can turn. Isaac Ukwu came out after the hit on Bryce with the football.
Got by Hodges there. Cooper Hodges delivered a vicious blow on Chase Bryce. Chase just couldn't hang on to the football. Good pass rush by the number 3 there, and again just delivered a blow. Again, we talked all broadcasts about Appalachian and JMU being similar programs. Appalachian does not quit in the Texas A&M game, the Troy game, the UNC game. JMU is not going to quit today.
Black in the backfield, JMU with an opportunity to get another touchdown here right before half. Black with the stutter step, and he's met right at the line of scrimmage. DeAndre Dingle-Prince in on the tackle. Opportunity for the App State defense to flex a little muscle here as we go inside a minute to play until the break.
James Madison has 1 timeout, so they're going to keep an eye on the clock. And obviously, I would think that they would try and take this one, take a shot at the end zone via the pass game, but trips to the wide side of the field, single receiver on the backside.
Chris Thornton slot to that side. He's been relatively silent today as Centeo got hit trying to get that pass away. Jordan Earl got fingertips on the football and the quarterback at the same time. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 10 from the 11. The Dukes could get a 1st down before a touchdown, but with 41 seconds left, awfully tricky time. There you see Earl just did get his hands in on that pass and deflected it.
Great effort by the 6'2", 295-pound nose guard. Great athleticism, getting the quarterback and keeping that big paw up.
Got 21 career touchdowns lined up. Slot to the bottom of your screen. Centeo on 3rd and long. Bouncing, pressured, throws it, nearly picked. And the Mountaineers get a 3rd down and long stop. Let's see what Kirk Cignetti will go with. Does he put points on the board, or does he try to score the touchdown? It looks like he's going to go to his kicker.
You have to put points on the board. And again, you're on the road. You're in a tough environment. You're down by 18 points. If you put the field goal on the board, it's really a 2-possession ball game if they go for a 2-point conversion. So he's got to put points on the board.
Very light rain beginning to fall here at Kidd Brewer Stadium. A 27-yard field goal attempt for Camden Wise. He was good from that same distance back in the 1st quarter. Gave JMU the lead. Trying to bookend this 1st half with field goals. Snap back. Wise's kick is off to the left. He pushed it. Don't think he hit that one clean, and the Mountaineer defense gets a stand after the turnover.
Wow. And you know, now to defend that field goal kicker, he has not had many opportunities to kick field goals this year.
Looked like he kicked behind it and just did push it off to the right. It's kind of like when you go for that loft wedge, Avery, and you ground the club and the ball like moves maybe 2 or 3 inches forward. I've got that club in my bag.
You're saying ground, I dig. I don't ground, I dig with the club. So again, yeah, that's a great analogy.
So the Mountaineer defense gets a stop. JMU had an opportunity to really take momentum into the half. They get the fumble after the sack of Chase Bryce. Isaac Ukwu with his first career fumble recovery. But JMU can't move it on 4 downs, or can't put points on the board on 4 downs, and App State will have a chance to run off this final 30 seconds here. Datrick Harrington on the carry across the 25-yard line. App has their complement of timeouts. I kind of doubt Sean Clark will use them here. Matter of fact, that can be, and looks like it will be, the last play of this first half of action. So second quarter activity for App State, 28-7. They outscored JMU. All of Appalachian scoring coming here in the second quarter. 186 yards to 183. These two teams even. The turnovers, the 18 here at halftime as we get ready to show you some first half stats. JMU with some momentum there toward the break. App State, the first one to crack the goal line. Cam Peoples in there with the touchdown, and it was quite an active second quarter. Miller Gibbs with the tiptoe catch there in the back pylon. Appalachian State would score 4 consecutive offensive possessions. You see the big breakup there by Stephen Jones. App State's defense helped out with a couple of short field positions for the Mountaineer offense to work with. You see Nick Hampton with one of those pressures, and the Mountaineers would come out of this pile, Avery Hall, with the football. Opportunistic, I think, is the word you would use to describe App State in the second quarter.
I tell you what, taking advantage of turnovers, and then you got the defense playing lights out. Nick Hampton had 2 sacks, corners, playing very good football on some very talented receivers. Again, just taking advantage of opportunities on those turnovers.
You see 16 minutes and 48 seconds worth of possession time for JMU, but 0 of 7 on third down, and the 2 turnovers that were costly. Mountaineers coughed the ball up once. JMU missed a field goal attempt right before the break that could have eaten into this 18-point deficit just a little bit more. So App State with the football to start this second half of play. Chase Bryce in the first half, pretty efficient. He came into play 4th in the league in pass efficiency, 4th in yardage, and he did not disappoint with his productivity. 9 of 11 passing, 129 yards, a pair of touchdowns. He was sacked once, lost a football, and ended up turning into a short field opportunity for the Dukes that they could not capitalize on. Leading rusher for the Mountaineers in the first half in terms of yardage, Amani Marshall with 26 yards, as you see Datrick Harrington take the carry out across the 26-yard line, almost to the 27. So a pickup of 2. Jalen Walker on the tackle for James Madison.
I tell you what, Jalen Walker was hanging on for dear life and made a pretty good open field tackle. You know, Appalachian does not want to be too conservative. You really want to build on this lead because, again, this James Madison football team will not quit. So Appalachian probably wants to continue their positive momentum on offense.
Second down, Bryce looking to throw this time. Got it out on the boundary, and that could be, and will be, a first down catch for Caden Robinson. Jordan Swan on the tackle. First down, App State nearing midfield.
Very strong arm displayed by Chase Bryce. Again, that was a tough throw. He made it look easy. James Madison's corner, a little bit too much cushion. Chase made him pay for it. Nice dart to Caden. Caden he's explosive. He turned up the field quickly on that one.
Caden Robinson, 3 catches, 33 yards. 19-yard pickup for the Mountaineer first down. 1st and 10 App State. JMU 45. Handoff Harrington as he keeps second effort. Forward gain of 3 yards on the play. Jamari Edwards in on the stop. Edwards, we mentioned he was the Marshall transfer. Keep in mind, James Madison and Marshall play JMU's homecoming game, October 22nd. I would imagine he'll need some tickets for that one to bring some folks out to watch him beat up on his old team.
He'll be going around the team saying, guys, are you using your tickets? Are you using your tickets? And he'll try and compile a bunch of tickets, but he's playing well for the Dukes.
2-time All-Conference USA selection before coming to James Madison. Bryce again on the rollout. Nice catch in stride. Robinson, that's a first down gain for App State. Caught that over the back shoulder of Xavier Coley.
Barbay is calling an excellent football game, and he has a quarterback who's just really doing a fine job going through his read progression and making pretty good decisions. I mean, he could have thrown underneath to the tight end, but wouldn't have gained as many yards. Was patient enough to extend the play, rolling out, and found Caden Robinson. just a good job of going through his read progression and delivering a good ball.
Pickup of 19 on the play. Amani Marshall, the back. He'll get the handoff up the middle and run into the middle of that JMU defense to the 30. Jamari Edwards in on the stop again for JMU. The Mountaineers have utilized 6 different ball carriers if you count Bryce, so 5 total running backs in the contest. Anderson Castle, remember, had a wildcat run earlier in the contest, but Peoples, Noel, Harrington, Marshall, all with significant carries today for App State's ground game that has gained 65 yards, a little bit less their normal productivity, but effective balance. Bryce looking again for Robinson, overthrew him by a few steps, had a step on Xavier Coley, just couldn't quite connect.
Just overthrew Caden Robinson, but that was the right place to put the football, not necessarily physically, but the right area relative to the read, because again, he had beaten the receiver. But you go back to the running backs. You know what's fascinating about this Appalachian State running back room is, you know, the average fan or the average, you know, football player back home watching this broadcast will say it's hard for a running back to get in a flow if you're only, you know, running 2 or 3 times and somebody else is coming in. But I will tell you, this Appalachian running back room, they do a great job of staying ready, each running back, and doing a good job once their number's called. 3rd down and 5. It's a run play for Marshall, and he picks up 3 of those yards. So App State looks like they're ready for their first 4th down try of the ball game. We mentioned earlier they are 2nd in the nation in 4th down attempts, 3rd most in conversions. Coming into play today, 7 of 11 on 4th down drives. That's just under 64%. They've got 4th and a true 2 yards just outside the 25-yard line of James Madison. Driving toward the red zone. Handoff to Marshall. He's pulled down from behind. It looks like JMU got the stop. Impressive stand for the Dukes just outside their red zone. Jalen Green gets the tackle on Amani Marshall and turns out App State on 4th down. We'll take a break from the Rock. JMU with some momentum and the football when we come back to Sun Belt Conference play here in Boone. Hey, the history in this rivalry means some of the players that stood out during these previous matchups, and Charles Haley certainly one of those. 4th round NFL draft pick out of James Madison, 5-time Super Bowl champion, NFL Hall of Fame class of 2015. You talk about a standard bearer and somebody that would have appreciated that last defensive drive for JMU. Charles Haley is right up there at the top. He was in his heyday collegiately, Avery, about the time you were getting recruited, right? That's exactly right. He came out in '87, and obviously he's one of those players that a lot of football players, particularly defensive linemen, tried to emulate because of his success.
Todd Centeo off the turnover on downs, trying to generate some offense. He strings out a run pass option out to the 32-yard line. Pickup of about 5 yards. It was a long way to go for Centeo as Andrew Parker drove him out of bounds.
Andrew Parker did a good job of extending that. Again, Teo's a pretty good athlete, and that's the tough part about being a linebacker. Andrew Parker one play has to go up against a 300-pound guard and shuck him and make a play in the middle, but also has to run to the sideline with the quarterback.
Centeo 9 of 17 passing, handing off on 2nd down. That's Kalen Black on the carry. Nick Hampton gets to him right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play will bring up 3rd down and 5. James Madison shut out on 3rd down conversions in the first half, 0 of 7. Again, they were 9th in the country on 3rd down conversions entering play. That's one thing that App State has taken away from James Madison, the ability to string drives out. Centeo in the gun. He's got 2 wide to the bottom of your screen, 3 total on that side. Firing toward the near side of the field. That ball batted away. Lawson on the deflection. Nick Hampton got some pressure. There is a flag on the play back near the line of scrimmage.
Looks like it's going to be illegal hands to the face by JMU, but it could be the ASU guy could have, Appalachian State guy could have initiated that contact. I'm not sure. But that was good pressure by Appalachian State's defense. And, you know, they came out trips to the wide side of the field, as you alluded to, but they threw back towards the boundary because, again, they're trying to attack Dexter Lawson on the boundary side. He is the boundary side cornerback.
long conversation. Here's Trennis Livingston.
I saw a helmet fly, David Jackson. That's why I thought it was something, you know, where a legal hand to the face, but I'm not sure. It could be pass interference as well, or holding.
Both coaches out trying to get some explanation as to what the foul could have been.
There would have been 2 fouls on the play. There's no foul for pass interference on the defense because the ball was touched. There's personal foul, hands to the face, on the offense, number 74. That penalty is declined, 4th down.
Avery Hall must have gone to the eye doctor from up here on the 7th floor. You saw that absolutely right.
Well, it's not. It's not. I have a great optometrist. Obviously, my eye doctor does a great job. Dr. Amy Harper down in Kernersville. But really, you just, from playing the game, you see, you know, what transpired. A helmet comes off. And the only way a defensive lineman or linebacker's helmet comes off is an offensive lineman grabs that face mask and yanks it off from you know, at that point.
Sam Clark to punt it away. App State holds up on that 3rd down stop. So the 4th down, stand by JMU, turns into nothing for the Dukes. That's 2 opportunities now in back-to-back drives that JMU has failed to put points on the board off of turnovers. 10 minutes to go in the 3rd. 18-point lead for the home team. Hey, since we're talking about a lot of nostalgia today, let's take it on back to 1980. That was the first year that App State and JMU met. Got Star Wars, the top grossing film. I want to talk about Dallas, Avery Hall, because that had the best cliffhangers on television. The episode where we drove into the gas truck, I was hiding behind the couch in my house.
Now, that is fun. Now, I don't even remember that episode. All I remember is Who Shot JR.
That's right.
They made a bunch of money off, you know, having people be engaged off of Who Shot JR.
Hey, and you were a Gainesville guy. The Georgia Bulldogs, the national champions that year back in 1980, the first time these two got together on the field. This is the first time they meet up in conference play against one another here in Sun Belt action, as JMU has misfired on a couple of opportunities. It turns into Appalachian State's chance for separation here. 2 straight drives that JMU has either gotten the ball off a traditional turnover or a turnover on downs. They have failed to put points on the board. Mountaineers nursing an 18-point lead and trying to grow that now off of that turnover on downs. They're going to have to do it from behind as Jamari Edwards gets loose and puts the heat on Chase Bryce. This defensive front for JMU has been awfully active in getting to the quarterback, as the Mountaineers have allowed now their 5th sack of the season.
Jamari Edwards, he's just so quick. His first step is so quick. If you look, he was in the backfield, had beaten his man before. You know, Chase can really start looking into his reprogression. And you know, Appalachian had allowed 2 sacks all season long, and they've allowed 2 today.
3rd down and 16. Underneath route. This could pop for something big as Tyler Page has the catch out across the 30-yard line. Gathered back a lot of that yardage lost on the Bryce sack, but still about 6 yards shy of the 1st down. So the Mountaineers will punt the football away, and JMU will get a temporary defensive reprieve. Time becoming a factor, though, trying to chew up 18 points. The Dukes need to turn this stop into something from the offensive perspective. Howell has punted the ball once for App State today. That was a 40-yarder back in the 1st half. Deep to return is Josh Surratt, and he'll get an opportunity on his own 24. Hit pretty hard. Good coverage there for App State. And JMU will get a modest 1.5-yard return and start at the 26-yard line.
You know, at the 8-10 mark, you would probably think that JMU will probably have 5, maybe 4 possessions in this football game. They're down by 18. So they're going to probably chew up some clock running the football, but they probably want to start scoring in an expedited manner if they want to get back into this football game.
So the Mountaineers' success in all of college football, finishing games like this one. We'll see what James Madison's got in store for an Appalachian State team that's been pretty stingy here at the Rock. As a matter of fact, both teams have been incredibly productive on their own home fields, and that'll be something interesting to see how that gets baked into this rivalry over time, is how well these two teams play against each other in hostile territory. Certainly Appalachian State will get the opportunity to go to Bridgeforth Stadium next year and experience all that Harrisonburg has to offer to this rivalry. A couple of football towns now connected here in the Sun Belt East. Handoff fake at Centeo on the run, trying to get away from the outstretched arms of Hansky Palant. Palant keeps him shy of the first down gain. 4-yard pickup for Centeo, so make this 3rd down and 1.
That was a great hustle play by Hansky Palant. Again, Centeo's pretty fast, but Hansky did a great job of running him down from behind. First of all, not losing contain.
High formation. Kalon Black, the featured back today for James Madison, is the setback, and he is driven back. No forward progress. Logan Dublin and Kevin Hagler meet him at the line of scrimmage.
Tell you what, great play. You know, it's easy to talk about Logan Dublin, outstanding play by Logan, but look at the D line, just reestablishing that line of scrimmage, because most linebackers are lined up 3 yards off the ball, right? So when they reestablish that line of scrimmage, the defensive lineman, that allowed Dublin a space to run through and make that play. Outstanding play by the young man.
Trey Cobb back on the field today for App State, but boy, Logan Dublin's really benefited from a little bit of extra time from that Texas A&M game to now just being on the field, gaining those live reps, if you will. Spelling Trey Cobb, it's made a difference as Dublin is right there at that line of scrimmage. We got a timeout on the field. App State football with an 18-point lead. Winding down here in the 3rd quarter at the Rock. Back at Kid Brewer Stadium, you see last week's antics. The Hail Mary heard around the world that sent App State to their first conference win of the season over Troy. That little detail somehow gets lost in all of this. But you know, one of the things about Chase Bryce in the aftermath of all of that, he talked about just how much closer his team has become in these last 3 weeks. He said, you know, we were already building bonds like all football teams do from camp on to now. As Anderson Castle gets the run out across the 25-yard line. Chris Chukwinecki in on the tackle for JMU. But he said that the way that these 3 weeks have played out, you can't help but get closer. You're going through the ebbs and flows and roller coasters, play to play, not drive to drive, but play to play. And he said, you know, we've got a stronger chemistry. We are a stronger football team now because of the way that we've had to win these 2 games than we would have been had we just gone out and played. Castle again across the 25-yard line. App State with a 3rd mid-range play coming up.
Yeah, anytime, you know, you experience adversity and you fight through adversity. I mean, those are the ingredients that will build better, stronger culture and a better team, DJ. So that's what Chase is talking about. And again, you know, he's been through a lot early on in his career and having a lot of success. So that's good to hear that he's in a great place.
3rd down and 5 coming up for App State. 2 of 6 on 3rd down. Not tremendous production. JMU's been a lot more stingy on these recent 3rd down plays, getting some pressure on Bryce. They'll do it again. Bryce eludes it, can't get completely away from it, and gets dropped for a loss of about 7. Jamare Edwards and Abby Nabwaku Akonji in on the tackle for JMU.
I tell you what, Jamare Edwards, keep an eye on that young man. He has a great first step. And most football players know that first step is so key. And then he's explosive once he makes his, you know, track towards the quarterback, but has a good, you know, a good arsenal of pass rush moves from swim to rip. But that first step is just so quick.
Another opportunity for JMU to siphon away some momentum. Howell's last punt, a 47-yarder, a twister that will be caught fair catch style. Ball pops loose. That's a muffed catch. Flagging on the play, that may be kick catch interference. Hold everything here. Lots of contact as App State's trying to say that they recovered the muffed catch. But there was contact prior to the reception of that. But the question is that an App State player or a JMU player that hit him?
I think that's going to be a kick catch interference call. Again, it's now Appalachian State's getting the benefit of the jumbotron because they're showing a replay, and from that vantage point, it looks like it was a JMU player. But I do
watch it again here. Milan
wow.
Tucker was contacted by the.
From that vantage point, it doesn't look like the Appalachian football player touched.
That was Devin Coles. That was Coles that got knocked in to his own return man, Surratt.
You know, it's interesting, fans at home watching the game on the jumbotron, they showed a different angle. But from that angle that we just saw on ESPN Plus, it looks like the JMU player did bump into his own receiver.
That's what you get with the subscription. You get better angles.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
So JMU with another golden opportunity. After the penalty yardage, they're placed at the Mountaineer 40. Twice now, James Madison's had a chance to put points on the boards off of either turnovers or, in this case, a penalty after a punt reception. Let's see what Centeo and crew can do. Pass over on the near sideline, positive yardage. That's a start for the Dukes. Latrell Palmer on the catch out of the backfield. He'll pick up nearly 6 yards on first down.
It's nice play, pass play by Centeo out in the flats. Latrell runs just as hard as Black, and so they've got a very tough running back room, but kind of just runs over that Appalachian defender out there.
Palmer 4 carries for 12 yards in the ground game. This will take the handoff on 2nd and 5 through Jordan Earl's grasp. He runs, still on his feet. First down gained inside the 25. And Palmer comes to rest at the 20. Finally tipped over by Hagler. That's a first down for James Madison.
Look at this. After contact, he gains about 8 or 9 more yards and still it takes 2 Mountaineers to bring him out. He runs really, really hard. And again, he doesn't look like he's only, well, he's a big guy. He's 6 foot 217. He doesn't look that big, but he's 6 foot 217, and he runs like it.
James Madison, 12 of 14 scoring in the red zone so far this year. Little swing pass out to the tight end, Zach Horton, and he couldn't quite hold on to it. Had to get his body twisted around, and that's a big frame, 6'4", 248. The sophomore out of Portsmouth, Massachusetts. Played in 10 games over 2 seasons. Did not have a catch in his career prior to today, and that's the 3rd time he's been targeted.
If he corrals that football, he has some real estate in front of him. And nice soft touch pass by Centeo. Horton just couldn't hang on to it.
Centeo on the day, 9 of 18 passing. Horton in motion toward the top of your screen. Here comes a 2nd and 10, and there's a flag down first.
Yeah, number 66, Cole Potts, moved. It was real clear he rocked. Can't do that, big man. He's 6'3", 306 pounds.
False start offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
That penalty against the Dukes, the 5th against them on the day for 40 yards. Interesting story on Tanner Morris, the center, who's playing just to the left of Potts. Morris got started playing football very late in his career, came to camp at App State as a tight end. They said, son, you're too slow, move to offensive line. And he's been an awfully productive center for the Dukes. As you see, that center trying to block a little bit for Todd Centeo, and Centeo dropped for a loss in the backfield. Marcus Clark got to him, dropped him for a loss.
Outstanding play by Marcus Clark. Again, does a great job of disengaging right here from the center or the guard, and that's a great open field tackle for a big man, a big defensive lineman. But the first and foremost, he did a great job of disengaging, not playing around, toying around with that guard. Speaking of the guard, it was Cole Potts, but disengaging from him, making a great play.
It's another yard loss. Tack that onto the penalty, and it's 3rd and a ton. 3rd and 16 for the Dukes to try to overcome. Mountaineers have been a little bit better on 3rd down and long today. Centeo off his back foot, firing toward the near sideline. Pass caught, but not good for the first down gain. That's Maxwell James on the catch. Ethan Johnson in there in coverage and wrestled him down to the turf with 4th down and 5 coming up. 2 minutes in rolling here, 3rd quarter. Down 18. It looks like Kurt Signetti is going to go for the end zone rather than the field goal. As kicker, Camden Wise, has missed one 27-yarder today, so that factors into the decision just a bit. 4th down and 5 from the 16. Big-time defensive play here for App State. Opportunity for the Dukes. Centeo. Pocket collapsing. He can run for the 1st down. Slips it inside at the 5. He wants more and finally gets tackled at the 2. 1st down and goal for the Dukes. Ethan Johnson, the touchdown saving tackle.
Centeo really just creating and manufacturing yards there, because, again, it was actually not bad. They're going for a quick tempo here.
Centeo leans across. Touchdown, Dukes. Todd Centeo rushes it in for the score, and the Dukes aren't done yet here at the Rock with 1:19 left in the 3rd.
Yeah, on that previous play, again, not bad pass rush, but then Centeo just did a great job of finding a gap and getting the 1st down, and then actually the next play, looking, he's just fighting through it and just trying to get in the end zone. That's just want to and desire by Centeo. And you know, you hear the crowd booing here. They're still upset about the muff punt, which they thought the James Madison Duke player ran into his own guy.
Wise on for the PAT. And spot the ball and kick this extra point as the Dukes finally capitalize. And again, now you go back and think about those 2 drives. They didn't come up with points, and that looms even larger. We could be talking about a 1-possession game again here. Well, JMU finally gets one back in the end zone here toward the end of the 3rd quarter. We've got a timeout on the field. That was a 6-play, 41-yard drive that took just under 3 minutes of clock time. And again, gives James Madison's defense a chance to reset, but Avery Hall, most importantly, capitalizes on opportunity inside App State's territory and puts points on the board to put some pressure back on the home team.
Converting on 4th down was huge. Again, you talk about pressure. Puts pressure back on Appalachian. Now, really puts pressure on Appalachian's offensive coordinator to come out and score some points now.
Hey, you know, James Madison's been opportunistic in comebacks before. This is the tail end of that 35-32 game. 5 versus 1, one of the most anticipated home games in Bridgeforth Stadium history back in 2008. App State was #1 in the country. James Madison spent a good part of the year in the top spot. Rodney Landers was the quarterback in that game. He had that last touchdown you saw. Just got put in the JMU Hall of Fame last week.
Congratulations.
That makes me feel old, because guys that were playing in those games back in the heyday of both of those programs are starting to go in Halls of Fame, right? So Landers was like, I think he had 1,300 yards rushing, something in the neighborhood of that year. I mean, that James Madison was James Madison, App State, Montana. Delaware was strong back at that point in time. I mean, you had all of that activity, save Montana, on the East Coast, separated by a few hours, and it was always in SoCon and the Colonial.
That's exactly right.
They had half the playoff field, and usually James Madison was the one that came through in the top spot. So it's going to be awfully fun to watch this rivalry take a new step. And we've seen here again, Mountaineers have known something about nail biters this year, and James Madison clawing back to make the score 28-17 with 1:19 to play in the 3rd. The Dukes have not been in a closely contested game in the 4th quarter yet this year. Busted play. Bryce going to take off and run. And he'll carry up to about the 28-yard line. There's a running back going the wrong way. Chase Bryce said, we'll make something happen anyway.
Good decision by Chase. You know, they always say staying on schedule. Here, offensive coaches talk about staying on schedule. That means you really want to get at least 3 yards on 1st down, 3 yards on 2nd down to stay on schedule. Chase kept Appalachian's offense on schedule because that was a busted play. He just made the most of it and got 2 yards at least.
Bryce with play action on the look this time. Off his back foot, and his pass is picked off, but out of bounds. Out of bounds the call. That ball was picked off by Chauncey Logan. And he slid out of bounds at about the 45. Bryce has not been as efficient from a passing perspective here in the 2nd half. He hasn't had that many attempts. He's 12 of 16 now for the game, 176 in the air. 3rd down and 8 coming up. The Mountaineers have failed to convert their last 4. Check that, 3 3rd down tries.
You know, pressure will burst off a lot of pipes. I mean, you know, Chase has, you know, he's been very efficient throwing the football. 12 of 16 is pretty darn good. That's still 75% passing completion percentage. But again, pressure had forced him to throw that ball before he wanted to.
They're going to review this previous play. So we'll stop things here for a moment again. The ruling on the field was that the ball was picked off but out of bounds, so the interception did not count. But I think JMU might want this to get looked at again. Here you go back to the pressure that has been different on Bryce. One of the things that Kevin Barbay mentioned was that blitz pressures were going to be something that App State was really going to have to guard against today. And you saw that pressure by Isaac Ukwu that led to Bryce forcing that throw a little bit early. Quick review, and they say, no, that was way out of bounds.
Yeah, he was way out of bounds. But again, you know, Ukwu, he's a defensive end. So JMU is able to get pressure on Bryce right now with 4 down linemen. And so they're keeping, you know, other folks in coverage. And so, you know, that's forcing the tight ends to probably stay in a little more than they want to, because they want to get in the passing route tree as well. But that's just good pressure by JMU's front 4.
3rd down and 8. Mountaineers have had some time to think about this offensive play. Shotgun snap to Bryce. Across the middle, he throws, and a sliding, rolling catch for Deshaun Davis. A 1st down gain out near midfield.
That was decent protection up front. Chase, he kind of got out of rhythm a little bit, but he got rid of it. They're going up tempo now, but good post route by Davis. Good catch.
Monty Marshall off of left tackle, and he dives into JMU territory and pick up 4 on 1st down from Marshall. And that 4-yard touchdown run against Texas A&M, 5 of 16 yards last week against Troy. Both of these teams have been without their lead running backs. That's a storyline that we will talk about more as we head in to quarter number 4. Well, it might not be a 1-possession game. It might not be a nail-biter, but it's a tight one here as we head to the 4th quarter in the Sun Belt opener for JMU. App State trying to move to 2-0 in league play. 15 minutes decides it here in Boone with App State up 28-17. Hey, streaming back in for the 4th quarter, right? Time to get to the rock. 4th quarters here are something else. We've seen a 40-point 4th quarter. We've seen a Hail Mary to end the 4th quarter. What will this 4th quarter bring at Kidd Brewer Stadium? We'll find out together. David Jackson, Avery Hall with you, high atop Kidd Brewer Stadium. App State near midfield, trying to put points back on the board. All of App State's scoring came in a 28-point outburst in the 2nd quarter that was largely fueled by turnovers. And now James Madison has plugged some holes defensively. App State has found the run game a little bit harder to manufacture. And James Madison trying to get a stop here on 3rd down and 4 that could help field position in a 9-point game.
You talk about how important those turnovers are, and you take away Appalachian State scored on 2 turnovers. You take that away, it's 17-14. So turnovers are critically important.
And Marshall couldn't get it, could not get the stop. So Q Reed in on the tackle. 4th down coming up. App State's only gone for 1 4th down today. It looks like they're going for number 2 right here.
That's kind of gutsy, because again, if you don't get it, James Madison has a shorter field, not a short field, but a shorter field than if you punted the football here.
4th down and 3 the call. 11-point game here at the Rock. James Madison trying to start this 4th quarter and maintain momentum. Bryce under center here.
We'll be trying to get these guys to jump.
And now there's
Can't have 2 guys in motion like that.
Flag on the play.
5-yard penalty remains 4th down.
Take the delay of game and give a little bit more opportunity for Clayton Howell, perhaps from a landscape perspective. It's a chess match. You know, you can be going up there to try to get the hard count, maybe get him to jump, but then if you take 5 yards here, it actually could benefit your punter in trying to pin back inside the 10.
It is. I thought we had too many guys moving too at that, but again, delay of game there. But
maybe they knew the play clock had expired and they could go ahead and run like that.
But good game of chess, as you mentioned, and so this gives our punter a little more room.
Howell 3 punts for an average of 41.3. Boots this one away from his own 35 after the penalty. Surratt calling fair catch, and he'll take it at the 7-yard line. So a good job by Clayton Howell pinning the Dukes inside their own 10. Can James Madison drive it out now? We'll find out when we come back to The Rock right after this. (28-17) our score here at Kidd Brewer Stadium. Some other Sun Belt scores of note. A few games just underway. You saw that 41-24 final for Coastal Carolina out of the Sun Belt East. They're getting the early win over Sean Elliott's club, who drops to 0-4 with the loss. Ball State, Georgia Southern just underway. Ball State, the alma mater of Bryant Haynes, the defensive coordinator of James Madison. He is a Ball State co-defensive player of the year on the scout team. Ended up being third-team All-MAC by the time he was done there. Arkansas State Old Dominion underway. You see Marshall taking on Troy as well. All four newcomers playing this week, 3 of them conference games. All right, let's see what Todd Centeio can do with his heels on his own goal line. Gonna have to heave one into the Mountaineer boundary to start, as Centeio is backed up in the trickiest field position that he's had today. 10 of 20 passing, 92 yards. James Madison with 242 yards of total offense.
Good pressure by Hansky, Palant. Really just good pressure by Jordan Earl and all those guys. Hansky forced Centeio out of the pocket and forced an errant throw.
Kalon Black, shifting running back. 63 yards on the day, and the pass across the middle, complete. Reggie Brown trying to get around some tacklers. He's across midfield now, and the Dukes with the home run ball out of their own 5-yard line. And now it's out to midfield, and the Dukes down 11 with a chance to capitalize.
You know, Reggie Brown, that was, again, that's inside. It's a slant, but kind of the post route. But Reggie Brown, career-wise, had 21 catches for 309 yards, if I'm not mistaken. And today, he's already has over 5 catches and has been very, very instrumental in helping this James Madison offense move the football.
First down and 10 for Centeio and crew at midfield. Centeio running out of arm tacklers, eluded Jalen McLeod before finally getting taken down. Looks like Tyler Bird on the tackle. That's a 7-yard pickup on first down for Centeio, making something out of nothing. Jordan Earl also caught up with him from behind.
James Madison came into this football game averaging 505 yards of offense, 53 points. Now, again, they played Middle Tennessee State and Norfolk State, but they've been able to create some explosive plays, and you see in this fourth quarter drive, they're kind of executing very, very well right now.
Chris Thornton, the near side slot receiver. Centeio hands off to Black, who again is nearing 70 yards rushing. It will go inside the 40-yard line to about the 36. That's good for a first down, JMU. Hansky Palant with the tackle from behind. Go back to Kalon Black for a second. The leading rusher, he's got 14 carries now on the ball game. And without Percy Ajay Obase, Black has become the featured back. He has clearly been the one that has been able to move north and south most consistently. Now Latrell Palmer in there as he picks up a block. Centeio heaving one down the sideline. That's caught. Touchdown JMU. Terrence Green Jr. flashing open on the boundary. And the Dukes back in the end zone with 11:28 to go.
Terrence is a transfer in from Monmouth and 3-time All-Big South, but he looked like an all-Sun Belt player. Outstanding catch, outstanding concentration. That was a great throw by Centeio. You really have to also give a shout out to Nick Kidwell, the right tackle, Cole Potts, right guard, Tanner Morris, the center, Tyler Stevens, Tyshawn White. They've given him better protection. You know, he was running, Centeio was running for his life in the first half and in the third quarter, but they're giving him a little more time now.
JMU going to go for 2 here, down 28-23 after the score. For Terrence Green, that's his first touchdown catch in JMU purple and gold. He had 20 career scores at Monmouth. All right, Centeio going for 2. Play clock down to 9. Sends a man in motion, that's Knight. And right in front of the goal line, Thornton in there on the 2-point catch. And just like that, it's a 3-point game here in Boone. These are the fourth quarters you come to expect at the Rock. 11:28 to play. JMU with a 5-play, 92-yard drive to get to within a field goal of App State here at Kid Brewer Stadium in Boone. Three-point game here in Boone, and if there is a coach in the country that can coach his team through fourth quarter adversity, shenanigans, whatever you want to use, insert your adjective of choice, Sean Clark is the guy to do it. App State has seen no game decided by more than 4 points this year. They had an 18-point lead at once. But you go back to the Troy ball game and you talk about the never give up mentality, never flinch mentality. That's what Sean Clark said won them that game, kept them with poise and in position to make that final play. How do you attack that now in a 3-point game and trying to hold on to what was at one point in time a commanding lead? A different lesson to teach today, Avery Hall, but an opportunity to really lean on some experience that has come from these first 3 weeks.
And it's always hard when you're up and you have a team as good as James Madison trying to claw and fight their way back into it. But Sean Clark should be able to walk over to his football players right now and say, look, guys, we're up by 3. Now, we've won some ball games in the last minute, but we also are 4 points away from being 0-3. And that should wake some guys up. But the key is you've got to stay aggressive here in the fourth quarter. JMU's not going to quit. If you want, wow.
That's a pick. That's a pick going back the other way, and JMU may be able to flex their way into the lead. Jalen Walker on the interception. That was a fake handoff that was pulled back by Bryce. He throws across, and Jalen Walker picks it off for his first career interception. And now the Dukes with the football inside the 15-yard line. They'll mark him at the 10. First and goal, James Madison down 3.
Again, JMU and ASU have so much in common. Take a look at this. Play action. He just doesn't throw it high enough. And again, this is his second interception on the year, so he's had a great year, but just doesn't get enough on this ball to get it over the linebacker's hand there.
Cooper Hodges, the offensive line captain, the one that tackled Jalen Walker to make that play. All right, here go the Dukes, first and goal. Handoff goes to Black. Right up the guts of the ASU defense. He moves inside the 3-yard line.
Tell you what, good push by James Madison's line of offensive linemen, but really good tackle there close to the goal line. Almost a touchdown saving tackle there.
I feel you going banker there, line of credit.
I started, man, it's amazing how it rolls off the tongue, but O-line.
Open up an account and bet on Kalen Black right now. He is producing. It's Black again on the handoff. Fights off of tacklers and into the end zone. Touchdown, James Madison. Kalen Black across the goal line, and here come the Dukes back into the lead.
You know, sometimes, you know, football teams, you say they get closer and they enjoy the intensity of the back and forth games, but sometimes, you know, you start, you know, letting your hair down, and it leads to some of these things become self-fulfilling because you stop playing as aggressive. And that's really what Appalachian has done. I mean, you know, that throw by Chase, again, he only has 2 interceptions all year, but that was just not a good throw. Again, the offense has not been as effective in this fourth quarter, but they need to pick it up now.
14 years ago, James Madison came back from a 21-point halftime deficit. They come back from 28-3 to take the lead here in the fourth quarter. Kurt Signetti and the Dukes of JMU have scored 29 consecutive points to take a 32-28 lead in a game that was all but over in some senses. I mean, App State had all the momentum. James Madison couldn't help but turn it over. You see 3-0 James Madison against App State when scoring 30+. If you think that a run like that is similar to what you've heard before, remember this too, JMU fans will. The Dukes scored 37 consecutive points on Middle Tennessee in that rout at the beginning of the year. They scored 37 consecutive points in less than 20 minutes of elapsed clock time between the second and third quarter. It's taken a little bit longer this time around, Avery Hall, but the results are the same. An offense that can put points on the board quickly, and that's what we've seen from JMU from about mid-second quarter on.
And they can score quickly, and what they've done is they've stopped beating. James Madison has stopped beating James Madison. They do not turn the football over. They're converting on third down now and making things happen.
Bryce, after the turnover, goes back to the air again and completes the underneath pass to Dietrich Harrington. Coming out of the backfield, Jalen Walker, who had that interception on the last drive, was there to make the tackle on the App State running back. 4-yard pickup on first down.
You know, David Jackson, if you take away those turnovers in the first half, it's the complexion of this ball game is totally different. Again, James Madison was beating themselves in the first half, and now they're just playing really, really good football.
Haven't seen a lot of Cam Peoples, haven't seen a lot of Nate Noel. Harrington the back, Bryce dropped again. That's Surratt, Josh Surratt, that came out of the backfield and got him. His first sack of the ball game. Drops Bryce for a loss of 5 and brings up third down and 13.
Josh Surratt is a tackling machine.
Untouched.
5'10", 190. He was not touched. Again, that was disguising that blitz. And again, from his free safety position. But, you know, Dietrich Harrington, not saying it was his fault, but somebody didn't block that safety coming in there.
Kevin Barbay said you got to pick up blitz pressure. Bryce heaving one into the sideline, has to retreat on third and long. And with 9:28 to go, James Madison's about to get the ball back.
You know, they say when you have two really good football teams, you know, the adjustments are key. And so it looks like Bryant Haynes, the defensive coordinator, promoted to defensive coordinator. He's been on the staff since 2018. Was promoted to defensive coordinator before the 2022 season. He's made the right adjustments. He knows what ASU is going to do, Appalachian State's going to do on certain formations. He knows the technique they're going to use, and he's right now he's putting his defensive unit in a better position to make stops.
Howell, the end-over-end punt. Surratt will watch it bounce and roll. A nice App State roll inside the 30. Flips field position back to the 27-yard line. So Howell with some good roll on the play. And now James Madison, an opportunity to milk some clock with the lead and 9:13 to go. And one major difference in this football game, Avery, is the ability of James Madison to rush the football. We talked to Kurt Signetti midweek, and he said the ability to control the line of scrimmage was going to define this football game. Up front, the Dukes have been able to outrush App State 173 to 62. And where this game has gotten back into the Dukes' favor is by pressure defensively and the ability to run the ball offensively. And that all comes back to the line of scrimmage. Centeo slings the rock, finds Thornton. Check that, that's Reggie Brown on the rolling catch on the Mountaineers sideline. Pickup of 11 for another first down.
And take a look at what Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator of James Madison, right now, he's not being conservative. He's putting that ball down the field. Now I will tell you, Nick Kidwell, again, I'm going to call their names. Cole Potts, Tanner Morris, Tyler Stevens, and Tyshawn Wyatt. They're just playing really good football up front. They're protecting on pass protection, and they're blocking their tails off when they run the football.
Centeo on the run. Trey Cobb gets to him in the backfield. That's a loss of 2, maybe 3 by the time it's spotted.
So it looks like Centeo didn't really know where he wanted to go with the football. And again, he probably should have given it to Black, but he didn't. And then the tight end gets knocked in the backfield, so just not a productive play for the Dukes.
A loss of a yard on the spot, back to the 38-yard line. Rolling toward the 8-minute mark. Crowd here at the Rock trying to get up. Latrell Palmer, the pistol back. From the middle of the field, second down and long. Centeo with time again. That pass is bobbled. Is that a completion? I believe they will rule that a catch by Devin Ravenel. He bobbled it on the catch, but came down on his back with the ball cradled, and that's enough for a pickup of about 7 yards. Check that. Centeo, first down gain. move the sticks again. They go to Drew Painter on the far sideline, right to midfield, and JMU stretches the chains with under 7.5 minutes to play once we restart.
Great protection, great throw, but even a better job by Painter knowing exactly where the first down marker was located and getting there exactly where he needed to be, making a great catch by the big tight end.
Green, the receiver, toward the top. He had touchdown moments ago. Palmer, the pistol back. On 1st and 10 from midfield. Palmer on the carry, pushing the pile into App State territory to the 45-yard line. Strength on strength right now. Hansky Painlant the tackle, but the strength of that offensive line is leading to the strength of the JMU run game.
Again, right guard Cole Potts, those guys, Tyler Stevens, that left guard, they're doing a great job of getting a good push. Now, I want you to remember that play, David Jackson, because they're going to run that play again because Centeo had so much real estate in front of him. They'll definitely run that play again and try and get the same defensive alignment.
Palmer to his left, Centeo ready on 2nd down and 7. Back to pass. Sideline route, rolling catch. And that's a completion to Terrence Green Jr. Move the sticks again for James Madison as they continue their march down the field. And you're right, Avery, you said this earlier. This is an aggressive sequence here by Mike Shanahan. Rather than playing not to lose, he's playing to win right now at the Rock.
And that's how you win championships. That's how you win football games. Again, when Appalachian State was up 28-3, they kind of dialed it back a little bit. You got sometimes, you know, in this game of football, not in life, but in this game of football, you have a guy down. Sometimes you have to kick him over.
Caleb Black with a great block there from Todd Centeo, but App State blows it up. Centeo gave the seal, but Stephen Jones Jr. comes in and makes the tackle for loss despite the good blocking.
Great open field tackle. Because think about it, take a look at this. Again, he's got a little real estate in front of him to get ready to try and juke that one guy. Great job of just hanging on by Stephen Jones and making a great open field tackle. But going back to it, David Jackson, sometimes when you have a team down, you got to kick them over. You got to kind of put your foot on the neck a little bit. But Appalachian State didn't do that when they were up 28-3. JMU still being aggressive, even though they're up right now.
2nd down and 9. Play clock rolling toward the 5-minute mark. And now there's movement up front. Looks like a false start coming against the Dukes.
False start, offense, 89. 5-yard penalty, remaining 2nd down.
That was Drew Painter, the tight end.
Drew got a little excited. His number may have been called. A lot of times when a big tight end moves a little early, he's excited about potentially getting the football, but definitely a mistake on his part.
2nd down and 14 coming up. Centeo with his heels back near midfield. Twins to both sides. There's Painter in motion. The blocking room. The cutback by Black gets him inside the 40 to about the 36. So give him 5 yards on the play, brings up 3rd down and long. Tyler Bird on the stop for App State. How about this? How about James Madison scored 32 points in this game by going 1 of 11 on 3rd down?
I tell you what, they've been taking advantage of opportunities, but you know what they're taking advantage of now. If you take a look at the defensive alignment, we're in cover 3, not cover 2. It looks like we're in cover 3. We were the previous play, and so they're running the football very, very well because they know we don't have as many in the box, and it looks like we're still in cover 3 now.
Centeo on 3rd down and 9.
And they're going to run.
Blitz comes. Centeo going to take off. He's got the 1st down and then some. Sliding stop at the 15. 1st down, JMU. What a decision by Todd Centeo as App sent the house. He went right through the front door.
That's what you have to do. Again, that's a design run. He's going to run because he knows the DBs are turning and running, and again, he's just going to get behind them. Again, just you got to account for that defensively, and you got to have, you know, Sam Will or middle linebacker, somebody readily available to make a play on Centeo.
Tanner Morris, that old tight end converted to offensive lineman, showing his speed, downfield blocking for Centeo the whole way. 1st and 10 Dukes inside the Mountaineer red zone. Trying to put this thing away at the Rock now are the Dukes. A handoff to Latrell Palmer. He'll center the football inside the 15-yard line down to about the 13. Jalen McLeod in on the tackle. App State with all 3 timeouts. Neither team has burnt one yet here in this game. The Mountaineers are going to have to start thinking about it. Or, you know, will they? I don't know. 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Can't give up a touchdown right now and expect miracle at the mount or on the mountain 3.
I tell you what,
got to get a stop.
James Madison is very aggressive, and I guarantee you they're going to go for the touchdown and not a field goal. Still a lot of time in this football game, but I guarantee you they're going to try and put 7 on the board here.
Camden Wise, 2 attempts from the 27-yard line, made 1, missed 1. And now Centeo trying to dump one off at the calves of Zach Horton. Pass falls incomplete, brings up 3rd down. Again, JMU has converted 2 consecutive 3rd downs after starting out 0 for 11.
They've had, you know, they don't have as many 3rd down conversions, but they have a ton of explosive plays in this second half, and that's how they've moved the football.
They've gone 3 of 4 on 4th down too, so not afraid to keep going for it. 2:48 clock stopped on the incompletion. That was a small break for App State. Didn't have to burn a timeout there. Latrell Palmer, the back. 7 carries, 39 yards today. Tight end left. And a jump. App State saying it's up front.
For them to stop the play, it's on the offense.
False start, offense, 54. 5-yard penalty,
for them to stop it.
3rd down.
You look at a player like Todd Centeo, who's in an offense at Colorado State where he was able to have a little bit more freedom trying to play the JMU system, and sometimes that clock management, play clock management, trying to run it down. You need some time in an offense to really understand the coach's cadence and what they're expecting and when to snap it. That could have been one of those issues of a relatively new quarterback, just not quite having that polish just yet. But it's coming in a big way for Todd Centeo. 3rd down and 11 after the penalty. 3 wide up top. Here comes blitz pressure. Centeo trying to run out of real estate and sidesteps at the 9. He's a yard shy of the 1st down. 4th and 1. Avery Hall, what do you do here?
I mean, they're going to try and put the ball. They're up. They're winning. So I guarantee you they're going to try and put the ball in the end zone to put this game away, because I do feel if they are able to score a touchdown, it's going to be hard to have another miracle here. But they're going to try and go for the touchdown here.
Clock rolling. They can take it down to about 2:10 before the snap. It looks like JMU with 10 on the play clock, and the quarterback Todd Centeo still standing with his hands on his hips. They may let this thing roll down. Now, if you kick a field goal here, you can make it a touchdown to tie you.
That's right. That's right. So the average fan is saying, okay, I guarantee you they're going to kick the field goal, because again, that makes it a touchdown game, to 1 touchdown ball game.
We'll see how it all ends. 2:10 to go. Nail bite her again at the Rock. Why not? Football games at Kid Brewer Stadium this year, you would not expect anything less than something coming down to the last minutes. 2:10 to go. James Madison bringing that offense out. 4th down and 1. A conversion here puts JMU in a great spot up 4. A stop gives Appalachian State a chance. Centeo out of the shotgun. Handoff, Kalen Black. He's pulled down at the 9-yard line.
He does not get it. He does not get it.
So there's the setup. Black taken to the 9-yard line. He's a yard shy of the 1st down conversion now with 2:06 and a full complement of timeouts. App State down 4 with a chance. They got to have a touchdown to win it.
Again, the average fan was saying they're going to kick the field goal and tie it and force ASU to go down and score. But Kurt Cignetti wins for a reason. He was going to attempt to get that 1st down so he could put another 7 points and make it, without a doubt, a win for James Madison. But again, Appalachian still has to march almost 90 yards to pay dirt in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. So this won't be easy the way James Madison's defense has been playing.
2:06 and a touchdown to Duck Pond. 4-point ball game. Chase Bryce, play action. Looking for a pass down the sideline. Robinson overthrown, no flag. Defended well by Chauncey Logan. Give him credit. The freshman out of Salem, Virginia, has come through with some solid play out of that defensive backfield.
Chauncey Logan lined up inside the receiver, obviously used the sideline as a 12th defender and just kind of pressured Caden as he was running his route, pressured him into the sideline. And again, just not a very good throw by the quarterback there.
JMU fans trying to make some noise here. Bryce, we'll see flags fly. On 2nd down and 10, App State backed up to their own 10. And here is Trennis Livingston.
Illegal snap, offense number 52. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, remains 2nd down.
So in this situation, you're at your 5-yard line. It's 2nd down and 15. David Jackson, if I were the offensive line coach for Appalachian, I would make sure I put 2 guys on Jamari Edwards, because he's had a fantastic day and he's getting after it right now.
Bryce out of his own end zone with time across the middle. That pass complete. Guess who? Christian Horn on the catch. First time we've called his name today. First down, black and gold out to the 28.
Start calling him Christian Horn Mr. Clutch. He catches balls right at the opportune time.
1:50 to go. Bryce going sideline route, and that ball is caught, but is it inbounds? I don't believe so. Jordan Swan on the coverage. Caden Robinson the intended target.
Again, going towards the sidelines to potentially stop the clock, because you got 1 minute and 44 seconds. Chase has his tight end a quick out.
Caden just off his fingertip.
Just off his fingertip. But Chase put that ball in a place where at least only Caden could catch it.
App State 3 timeouts
Definitely
left, 2nd down and 10. The Mountaineers held under 100 yards of total offense to this point in the 2nd half. They'll have to get nearly that total to win it. Bryce with pressure coming. Heaves that one downfield. That pass caught. Caden Robinson in on the catch. Jordan Swan nearly met the football and the offensive player at just the right time. Clock rolling inside 90 seconds to go now.
Appalachian having to keep a tight end in to help with the blocking scheme. So that's taking a receiver out of the passing route.
Tight end catches. That is complete. Backpedaling grab by Henry Pearson. First down, black and gold. Q Reed tripped him up. Clock stops to move the chains. 1:19 to play. App State with all 3 timeouts down 4. Nearing midfield against James Madison. Could it be the 3rd home game that App State tries to win it on the last possession? Bryce heaving. Horn thrown to the ground. No flag in. Swan in coverage. That ball might have been ruled uncatchable. It sailed well over the head of Horn.
I think you're right, David Jackson. Again, just not a catchable ball. This will get exciting because, again, JMU, which I thought they would stay aggressive on defense, they are kind of given a lot of cushion. But that looks like I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Tyler Page checking in, slot to the top side of your screen. 2nd and 10. Bryce with blitz pressure, hit as he throws. Ball heaved down the sideline, and that ball is broken up. Broken up. That was again the freshman, Chauncey Logan, in coverage.
Again, James Madison getting a ton of pressure on Chase. Take a look. Well, can't see it, but lots of pressure on Chase. He has to get rid of it, sooner than he wants to. Look at that. He's under duress.
There's Jalen Walker, who had that key interception earlier, right there in Chase Bryce's kitchen again. Got 2 downs to convert, 10 yards. 3rd and 10, 1:01 to go. Bryce chopping those feet, running for it to the 43, and App State may have to burn a timeout. They'll do so with 54 seconds to play in a 4-point contest. Mikhail Kamara in on the tackle for JMU. Bryce gained 2 yards on that play, and App State will have to go for it here on 4th down. They've only tried 1 4th down conversion here today. Here's this wild ride that App State's been on. We're right back in that spot again. Carolina with a 2-point win. You see Texas A&M goes down thanks to Henry Pearson, who just had a catch just a moment ago. 3-point win there. And then the walk-off Hail Mary against Troy last week. These are the cardiac apps for sure. Do they have one more heart stopper in them? 54 seconds left. They got to convert this play. or James Madison will come out with their first road victory as an FBS team, and one they will remember for quite some time as a building block to the full transition of their program to the Sun Belt. Couldn't ask for a better script if you're Curt Cignetti, from recruiting, from program building, all of that stuff. Here we go, 4th down and 9. Ball game play right here.
They're rushing
Bryce
3.
Across the middle. Ball dislodged. Horn was the intended target. Q Reed hit him. And the Mountaineers fail to convert on 4th down, and that's your ball game.
You know, some of the things that'll make you excited and get fired up are some of the things that'll make you cry. Good throw, good catch, just a great formed tackle by number 1.
How about Q Reed? His dad, Lamont Reed, a former NC State Wolfpack player, 3 teams in the NFL he played for. He's a North Carolina guy out of Concord. He comes back to the Old North State and makes the defining play in the signature win for James Madison here in this transition. They beat Middle Tennessee in the first week. No disrespect to the Blue Raiders, but this is the one that they'll put on the mantle as Todd Centeio will take the knee and roll it out.
Well, and again, the same things that'll make you smile and make you cry. And you know, sometimes we talked about it. Even though Appalachian State was 2-1, they were 4 or 5 points away from being 0-3. So you know, what goes around comes around when it comes to, you know, these wild rides. And James Madison, we talked earlier in the broadcast about these being 2 similar football teams. I mean, they are so similar, scary. But we knew James Madison would not quit. They were going to fight through this football game. And that's what they've done. They've scored 29 points in the second half. They've scored Appalachian 29-0 in this second half.
And have absolutely put Appalachian State's offense in the garage. And they're in that second quarter. It looked like App was ready to put their foot on the gas.
That's right.
They took the keys straight out of that thing.
But think about it, David Jackson. When you have 2 similar football teams, two teams that traditionally play great defense, 2 teams that traditionally run the football well, 2 teams that this year have not allowed a lot of sacks, 2 teams that have not allowed a lot of turnovers, it comes down to adjustments. And obviously, you know, Bryant Haynes, the defensive coordinator at James Madison, made some adjustments at halftime to stop this Appalachian offense. You know, and it's more than just alignment, where your defensive linemen line up, where your linebackers line up, and where your free safety, your corners line up. Sometimes it's a difference in technique. And James Madison made the adjustments at halftime and just did a better job at those adjustments. And that's the difference in this football game.
Percy Ajay Obase did not play in this contest. James Madison found a way, without their leading rushing option, to rush for 154 yards. 358 total for the Dukes in the contest. App State taking one of their remaining timeouts here. It's 3rd and 13. The Mountaineers burning their last timeout.
You know,
James Madison, they're going to have to punt.
Wow.
Promise you they will. I think. Well, maybe not.
They may not punt, but yeah, they may have to. But
App's out of timeouts now.
This is when you run it all the way back.
This is where you run it back. Centeio will take the knee and start the clock rolling, and that'll do it. So the James Madison Dukes, in their first Sun Belt Conference game, a win to remember as they mob the field here at Kid Brewer Stadium. And the fans that have made their way from Harrisonburg, if they still had streamers in their bags, they're letting them fly now at Kid Brewer Stadium, a place that has been hard for James Madison to win. Became the site of one of the signature victories that their program has in this Sun Belt transition. I think they're going to have to clear the field for one more play, although the clock's rolling off.
I think they're done. I think the ball game is over. They just kind of put a pause into JMU's celebration, but the ball game's over.
An impressive victory for the Dukes, the final score of 32-28. So James Madison not only moves up to the top of the Sun Belt East, they remain one of the unbeaten programs in the country as they move to 3-0 on the season. And Curt Cignetti, I mean, an emotional 2 weeks, Avery Hall, no doubt about that, to rally the troops, to rally himself, his coaching staff, to be able to come off the bye week and into a hostile environment. 33,248 today, the official attendance, and James Madison took what looked like a game that was about to get away and played the comeback card once again.
Curt Cignetti's good at what he does. I mean, he's 35-6 at JMU. He's 18-1 in conference play. Now I know that was in the CAA, but he's proven in conference play in the Sun Belt that he knows how to prepare his troops and he knows how to make adjustments in game. I mean, he was successful at Indiana University of Penn, 53-17. He was successful at Elon. Now, when you look at his record at Elon, he was 14-9, but before he got there, they were 12-45.
That's right.
So Curt Cignetti he knows how to build the culture of a program. He knows how to win, and like I said, his staff showed today they know how to make in-game, or when I say in-game adjustments, because again they really dominated in the second half, and if you take away those turnovers, they're probably in the ball game in the first half, and they were a little shell-shocked, but they made the adjustments on defense. They made the necessary plays on offense to score 29 unanswered points in the second half, and they won the second half 29-0.
Well, maybe we should just wait for just a second, because there's 43 seconds on the clock. The play clock's at 40. It's 4th and 20 coming up. ROTC thinks it's over. They're done.
How do you justify putting 43 seconds back on the clock?
42 now.
42.
They agreed with you. So wait a second. A lot of conversation here still.
The play clock will start on my ready for play, as well as the game clock.
So now they'll roll it. It'll be about 4 seconds, the difference. And JMU just lets it run down and then run one play and it's over. Or so we think here. Who knows?
Now this is when you run and get a safety if you're JMU. You run all the way back, and because again, just run the timeout.
Didn't work well last week.
Well, what I'm saying, 11 seconds. I mean, think about the play clock and the actual game clock. He can run 5. It'll take him 4 seconds to run to the end zone.
I think James Madison got the delay of game. I don't think they got the timeout taken, or did they?
I think
they have the timeouts, but yeah. And now JMU wants the timeout. So there's 2 seconds left on the clock. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up, right?
ESPN already has it. They won the game.
So we know something they don't know. Not over just yet. You see the App State upcoming schedule right back here at the Rock next week against the Citadel, an old Southern Conference battle, as App State goes into the FCS well for the first of 2 games in the non-conference this year. That Texas State game, the next opportunity back in Sun Belt play, coming up October 8th. 3 straight home games at the Rock. Family weekend next week, another sellout. So they're going to put 3 seconds on the clock. JMU took the delay of game. They've got 4th and 25. App State will walk it out. And they can run the 3 seconds off right here and end it. App State will try hard, try to dislodge this football somehow or another. Dodson Teo takes the slide, and now the celebration can start. The James Madison Dukes knock off Appalachian State 32-28, and again, a statement victory in the first Sun Belt Conference game for Curt Cignetti. Smile, Coach, that's a good one. First FBS road win for the program in their first conference victory. Now moving to 4-0 all-time, too, against App State with scoring 30 or more. Avery Hall, your final thoughts on this one?
Tell you what, good JMU football team. They did not quit. They turned the football over in the first half, which got them behind the point spread. It was 28-3 at halftime, but they played outstanding football. Appalachia just needs to come back and make sure that they kind of work on defense, as well as kind of try and be more aggressive on offense when they're ahead. But same things will make you laugh one day, will make you cry the other day. So
App State falls on their home turf for the second time this year. They even out to 2-2. James Madison will head back to Harrisonburg with a key victory here in Sun Belt play. That'll do it for us here from Boone. For our producer Kevin Wilson, analyst Avery Hall, I'm David Jackson saying so long from the Rock. Final score 32-28 JMU. All games airing on the ESPN network. They're streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Good night for Boone.